What day is it?
Today's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Hey, sorry I woke you up.
Time to get up.
It's time to get up.
You know I do not get up at times.
You're the reason people wake up in the morning.
Don't kiss me. Morning breath.
What time do you have?
Oh, time for work.
Ready to start the day.
Everyone have a good show.
It's showtime.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. A few early risers now. One last classic conversation with Bob Casper. He joined us yesterday to talk about the final moments of the Open Championship. What a great finish. Here's part of our conversation with Bob. Getting up and down from 175 yards for birdie on the 18th hole on Sunday on what's turned out to be the toughest hole of the tournament. It's a pretty good way to go.
Yeah, he played amazing golf, Ryan Fox, coming down the stretch.
How much did you know about him? I got to admit, I didn't know much about him until he started rolling there.
You know, the thing about Ryan Fox is it's kind of interesting. Turned professional in Australia at the age of 25. So he played there, cut his teeth there on the Australasian Tour, that kind of thing. He got his DP World Tour card at the age of 30, 5 years later, came to the PGA Tour 7 years later at 37, and he won twice last year in 2025, both times in a playoff, and one of them over Sam Burns, and then now he wins the Open Championship. But, you know, it seems like when he gets in the mix of things and in the hunt for a chance to win, he really goes after it hard, and that's what he did.
He got fire in those last 6 holes. He had 4 birdies. He did have a bogey there. Is that just a case? Is that anything to be replicated, or like it's just golf and sometimes these things happen? I mean, you point out he does kind of have nerves of steel. He's winning these playoffs, but that still seems extraordinary.
Well, you know, the bogey that he had, it was a shot that hit about 2 feet left of where he was aiming. And when that happened, it hit the revetted bunker on the 15th hole, and it circled around. He had no shot to get it onto the green, so he walked in there real quick, pitched it out into the fairway, took his medicine with what the shot gave him, pitched it in the fairway, and then pitched it up on the green and made the putt for a bogey. He did everything he needed to do, everything, to win the golf tournament, to keep himself in the golf tournament. And just when it looked like he was dropping a stroke further back, he took his medicine, made that bogey, but then came right back with a birdie on 16, and then didn't make birdie at 17, and then made the birdie at 18 to finish it off.
Okay, Bob, the big story, obviously, DeChambeau. Did you see the memes of him with a weed whacker or a riding mower?
The one with the weed whacker was so funny. Oh, my goodness, I was dying when I saw that.
So explain what went down.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Another one, he did like a dance spin and stuff, and he just cleared out the whole area. It was pretty funny.
Tell us what was the impetus behind the ruling, and if you agreed with it.
Well, you know, whether he did it intentionally or inadvertently, the ruling is that you can't do anything to improve your lie or improve the line of your swing path or flight. And that's what he did. I mean, he walked right in. He went behind his ball. He stamped down the area behind his ball, and then went back and looked again before he hit his shot, and stamped it down again before he was going to his ball. And you could definitely see that his swing path, the grass was higher when he got back there, and then when he stepped on it again before he went in to hit the shot, it was lower. The other thing is that he uses clubs that are unique. He uses a set of irons that are all the same length, and they're all the same length as a 7-iron. So his wedge is the same length as a 7-iron, which is a couple, 2-3 inches longer. So his swing path was definitely going to be further back, and that stuff was in his way inadvertently. Like I said, he's a lot of guys have come out and say that he's not including Scotty Scheffler, that he's not a guy that would cheat, and but inadvertently he caused it to be trampled down a little bit, and it affected.
But what advantage did he
shot.
gain?
He gained the advantage of being able to swing at the ball.
I know, but the score. What advantage did the score give him? If it doesn't give you an advantage in the score, what difference does it make?
Well, it does make a difference because he would have had to hit it out to the left, and who knows what the score would have been.
But he could have taken an unplayable lie and dropped.
He could have taken an unplayable lie, but the unplayable lie only gives you line of flight, so he could go back as far as he wanted, and there were trees behind him, or you get 2 clubs of relief, or you go back to where you originally hit the shot, which would be back at the drive. That's what happens with an unplayable lie. So by allowing himself to pitch it forward and pitch it at the green, he made a bogey, but who knows what he would have made had he pitched it out to the left, if he would have made a bogey, if we would have made a double bogey. And ended up he got a 2-shot penalty and a triple. And
then how about if it's Joe Blow and there aren't cameras on him? We have 2 different standards here, or 10 different standards?
Well, okay, so each group has an official with them, and unfortunately, that official wasn't over there in watching what was going on, and he should have been. But each group, plus the player in that group, help police and the policies of the rules and everything, because you're trying to protect not just the person that's shot it is, but you're protecting the field as far as the players are concerned. It's a major championship. Unfortunately, Scotty Scheffler wasn't over there to watch what was going on. The rules official wasn't in there like he should have been, right at the site of what was going on, and it got manifested itself. The thing you have to understand is that in today's game, no matter what, and you're in one of those marquee groups or one of those later groups, it's going to show up. It's going to be on camera. It's going to be on film. So you have to policy and make sure that you do everything that you can towards the correct side and not skirt the fringes.
There's been a lot of talk about maybe DeChambeau leaving LIV and coming back, and what will the terms and conditions be? We've seen some guys come back. Maybe they'll just do the same thing, but it seems like there's a lot of wiggle room here. And when Rory McIlroy gets up there were several people being asked about third-round tee times coming out around 11 p.m. after all this happened on Friday. And McIlroy said, "Late night for everyone. I won't pretend to be up here and defend Bryson. I'm not particularly fond of him. I think a lot of it's performative. I think a lot of it's for attention. To hold the tournament hostage like that and to have all of us, players, volunteers, everyone waiting on him to depart, I didn't feel like it was a great look." That's maybe not such a big deal for football, baseball, or basketball, but that's pretty harsh for golf. What does that mean for him coming back to the tour?
Well, the whole thing after the 2-shot penalty, he was the one who made the comments that maybe I just won't play the rest of the tournament, and so that's what was holding hostage the tee times, all that kind of thing. So conversely, with the PGA Tour, he's saying, well, maybe I don't want to go back to the PGA Tour. I'll do all my live golf stuff, and then I'll just play the majors. He's saying to the PGA Tour also that you need me, and you better do things that benefit me more, and maybe I'll come back. So this is something that he's done and said to the PGA Tour, this is something that he's done with the RNA at a major championship, the Open Championship, and there's not a lot of people that appreciate it, especially Europeans with the RNA. And so I don't know. It will remain to be seen what he does and what the PGA Tour does and what they offer him if he wants to come back, because when it all's said and done, if Liv folds its pen up and closes shop, he's going to have to decide if he wants to stay relevant in the game of golf.
Are there guys out there who aren't particularly fond of Rory, though?
Well, I think there probably are guys that aren't particularly fond of Rory. Rory has kind of been the spokesperson for the PGA Tour when Liv Golf started up. You know, any of those guys that went that direction, they probably aren't happy with Rory's opinions and stuff like that. But that's the important thing, and the great thing about the game is it's an individual game. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you can go ahead and voice those opinions and stuff, and you don't have to make everybody happy.
Because I have to say, Bob, I'm not particularly fond of you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And you know what? PK? I was wondering all night long how you were going to figure out how to get Ryan Fox into your stable and claim another win.
You were sweating it. You lost 7 pounds Sunday. Because I picked Sam Burns, and you didn't want to hear it. The only thing you had going for you is that Sam Burns didn't win.
You know what? I wanted Sam Burns to win.
And why is
and
that?
When it was coming down the stretch, I wanted Sam Burns to win. So, but that's okay.
You think he's on the come now? I mean, he's been knocking on the door, so we got to wait 9 months for the next major. But what do you think?
Isn't that crazy? We got to wait 9 months now before we got the Masters again. Yeah, it stinks. But yes, Sam Burns played some phenomenal golf this year. 7th at the Masters, 2nd at the U.S. Open, 3rd at the Open Championship. Played some really, really wonderful golf, and he was right in the mix in those 3. So yes, I think he's feeling more comfortable with his game and the situation, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before he has an opportunity to knock one of these off and be a major champion.
All right, Bob, that'll do it. We appreciate it, and congratulations on Sam Burns finishing 3rd.
Yeah, it's good to have a major. At least I got one this year.
I can tell you right now, PK's already trying to propose rule changes about, getting points. So, I mean, he got a winner this year, and you and I didn't. But it'd be a points competition in case we each had one or if we all had none.
Or you have 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3 seconds would be good picking. Right now there's no reward for that.
I mean, I'm trying to make it so you guys could stay interested and not be like Rory and not have a whole lot of enthusiasm for the PGA Tour. Like he said, I want you guys to be engaged when we get to the British, because usually you figured, oh my gosh, I lost out to this guy again. So I'm trying to help you guys stay and have a shot to compete.
He got Ryan Fox. We lost out to him again.
I'll create a system that will allow you to compete a little bit better for next year. Just stay and just grind over the winter, Bob, and you'll have another chance.
Blah, 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 blah.
You'll have another chance, Bob. Just stay with it, man.
All right, there's Bob Casper with PK and I. When we come back, going to take a look at Rob Wright. The goals for Rob Wright, coming off a 101-point Summer League game against, I don't even know what kind of competition. What kind of a year is he going to have? I'll just say this. A junior, as much as BYU's been getting talent, and that's great, you always want to get talent, get older. And they've been counting on freshmen and sophomores, certainly last year. Now they got a junior. I think that's a big positive. We'll have more in a moment. Stay with us. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Question of the morning. Rob Wright scored 101 points in a Summer League game. Can he be the best point guard in college basketball next year? Brady, no. Who is he playing? Could be Junior Jazz for all we know. Rob Wright up there. out there lighting up a bunch of 12-year-olds?
I think it's more of the college-type players or
Brian.
some ex-college players.
Brian, it's a local pro-am for fun in the summer. I doubt they were playing any real defense.
Does anybody really play any real defense?
Does anybody know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Yes, some people play defense, but I get Brian's point. That could have been a super low level there. Kevin, he could be the best, but I wouldn't base it off of that. Probably not the toughest competition.
Yeah, but you're only going to face the toughest competition once.
Yeah.
You can't have several teams to be the toughest competition.
If he was going to be the best point guard in college basketball, I'm pretty sure BYU would have done a little better last year. Football, please start.
See, that's the thing about it, and is that coming back is why he can flourish. You don't need to go to a third program in 3 years. I think, and even in football to a degree, I think that some of this constant moving impedes your development. It doesn't help it. It actually makes it worse.
Different people, different systems, getting coached to do different things.
Yeah.
You never have a time for anything to really to build and improve and grow and make whatever it is they're teaching you just second nature. So you're not thinking about it.
Right. Yes. That's the point. And so many of these kids are just bouncing around all over the place, and everything is brand new all the time.
I no longer think it's crazy when I click on the recent transfer to whatever school to see that it's his third school in 3 years or his fourth in 4. I've seen that enough clicking on people's bios. It's not surprising anymore.
So as they're trying to jump around to capture lightning in a bottle, so to speak, I believe it's also impeding their progression.
Tony says, I would expect improvement in his game. He missed an inordinate amount of shots inside 10 feet last season. BYU needs him to be a leader and a shot maker. Finishing at the rim. Can be tough for a smaller guy, but can you get better at that? They need him to be better at that.
And I think that with this continuity of being in there with the head coach, and you know what he wants, and the head coach knows what the player can do well, what are his weaknesses better. We heard that 2 years ago in his first year. Kevin Young spent one day looking at all the shots that Dallin Hall had made the year before because he was brand new. If he would have come back, probably would have had a pretty good season. Now he chose to leave and all that stuff, and so be it. But I think that is an application that can apply. That's one of the reasons why I'm high on Utah football this year. Is Devin Dampier is going to be in his second year. Now, he'll have a new coordinator, but he's going to understand playing at a higher football level at the Big 12 level, and maybe a little bit better what he can and can't do.
And they're apparently trying to keep a lot of the concepts. So even if it's a little different, they're trying not to make it very different.
Well, the art of coaching is to tailor you to the player, not vice versa.
Right.
You have to fit the player. What are the player's skills? What do he or she do well, and accentuate that? And so, yeah, that's the essence of coaching, I believe, as far as that goes. You don't want to be, well, here's the template, you fit here. You don't want to bring in, well, they don't really run the wishbone. The service academies do. But you're not going to bring in a big-time pass. Used to be way back when many schools ran it. It's right. Troy Aikman left Oklahoma and went on to have a Hall of Fame career in the NFL because Switzer was going to run that offense that didn't throw the ball that much. It seemed like he should have never gone there in the first place. So that was a system mix-up, whatever you might say, as far as Aikman, a local kid from Oklahoma, I believe, and he stayed local. Well, then he realized that this ain't going to work. And so he got out of there, and then boom. The rest is history as far as he is concerned. What he won 3 Super Bowls and blah, 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 blah. So we understand that, but that's not the way the world runs today. The coaches fit what you have, the talent that's available, and put it in its best position to succeed. I think that if you're going to define coaching, I think that's what coaching is all about. It's putting players in their best positions to succeed, whatever skills they have. So, but the fact that he came back, and we're doing the same thing with Bachmeier, is that this is the first time in 4 seasons that they've had a returning quarterback?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Well, expectations are higher.
Returning quarterbacks have often paid off.
Yeah.
Not always. Indiana did it with the guy who was the first time, so there's exceptions. But, yeah, on the whole, you'd rather have a returning quarterback than not.
Yeah, well, you take the number 1 pick of the NFL draft.
Yeah, you'll
And
take
so,
that.
yeah, obviously that's a supreme talent that individual must have, and we're talking about Mendoza, obviously. And I was doing the front row thing that they're starting on Channel 5 and also on YouTube with the sports guys there. And Sylvester, Stevenson Sylvester, we all call him Sly, he made a point, and I said I want to get him on to elaborate on that. And he said that one of the things that he's looking at Bachmeier is to make sure that he doesn't try to overdo things because, I'm in my second year, I've got to be better. So maybe last year I was a little more cautious, and I didn't put the ball into a tighter window because I wasn't prepared for that, didn't want to hurt the defense, blah, blah, blah. And Sly was talking about, well, he's got to make sure that he doesn't try to overdo it, thinking, well, I'm a second-year guy now, man. I can do this. That he's still got to make the right decisions. And I thought, yeah, that's a really good point as he goes into his second year thinking that, okay, I have that much more experience so I can try different things. And it might lead to more mistakes because one of the things that he did really well as a freshman was limit the mistakes. And it's a fine balance because you don't want to be back there thinking, I got to limit my mistakes. You also got to be aggressive. That was what was so cool about Ryan Fox participating on the 18th green there is that, okay, I can win this right now. But what I don't want, if it would have been me, it would have been, don't three-putt. I'll blow the playoff, right? And I have no chance to make it at that point. But you just look at his body language and the way he got up over that ball with 22 seconds it took, and he wasn't taking forever, man, I would have stepped back and I would have dropped to a knee and said a prayer and everything possible to try to get that ball to go in, and I probably wouldn't have done it. He gets up there, and he's got the mindset, okay, I'm going to be aggressive here. I'm going to go for it. And he makes it, and he wins, and there is no playoff. And who's to say, he had the playoff in his back pocket. Who knows what's going to happen in the playoff? So I like that mindset, but you don't want it for a quarterback or even for Rob Wright for next year on the basketball floor. Don't be reckless because you have that much more experience. You want to make sure that you're aggressive, but also make good decisions within that form of aggressiveness. And that's something that they really have to look at to see what they want to do there and with the best way to execute that. You know?
I do. So I'm curious what your expectations are for Cougar Hoops and specifically for Rob.
I'm expecting him to be much better because he knows Kevin knows him.
And it'll be different. He won't have the number 1 pick in the draft to defer to and have the ball in his hands and take a bunch of shots. I mean,
he's a leader.
It's going to be very different.
Yeah. And the thing that I like about Kevin Young is before they even took the court his first year, he said Richie Saunders is an NBA guy. I remember him vividly.
Yep.
I'm thinking, really?
And the draft happened even with the knee injury. He got drafted.
NBA guy.
And he would have been drafted. Obviously, it's easy to think he would have gone 5, 10, 15 spots earlier,
right,
depending on which team liked him and trades and all that stuff. But he would have gone earlier. He'd have been healthy.
So Kevin Young knows NBA. He spent a large portion of his adult life in the NBA. And when he said that, and then it came to pass, even with the injury, and even with him being older because of the mission, that still didn't deter. Who drafted him? Was it Memphis?
I believe it was, yes. Yeah, because we're thinking it's a good fit with Boozer.
Right.
Good call.
That didn't deter them from drafting him. So, in my mind, Kevin Young, that credibility when he's going to say somebody is an NBA player, I'm going to really pay attention now. We all knew Yegor and DeBonsa.
We were lottery picks.
Yeah.
That was more obvious.
Yeah.
Saunders wasn't as obvious.
Right. And so to single him out. So now if he says Rob Wright can be the best point guard in college hoop, okay. I'm going to listen to Kevin Young because in my mind he's already built up some credibility and built up a little bit of a track record. Can he be? Now, I'd have to go look at all the college point guards
right.
And I mean that's an enormous amount of people. It's not the NBA. It's a much smaller
But
number.
the point is he could be playing at a very high level,
That's
a
what I'm
much
expecting.
higher level than a year ago.
And that's what I'm expecting. Yeah. I mean, if he scored 87 points, would I expect less? Probably not. But 100 catches your eye. I mean, I realize it's that's it. It's loose in the summer, and guys they're not taking timeouts to get a defensive stop and blah blah blah. Everybody understands that. But the idea is coming back rather than going. I think that was an important decision that he made. And fine, go check out your market. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
That's what it is
Highly
now.
recommend
You
it.
got to check out your financial market.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. He checked the market. Don't drag it out too long and get all dramatic. We might have that going on in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
And he didn't. I thought it went fast enough. It's fine. Go out, ask around.
Well, he said
see what
this
the
is
deals
where I
are.
wanted to be.
This is it. Yeah. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, coaches do that all the time. If somebody calls you up, you're going to listen.
His overall numbers were fine. Back to the guy saying, hey, he's got to finish better inside. The NBA people will always pull apart your stats and say, what'd you do against ranked teams? What'd you do against NCAA tournament teams? And so those games, I think, is where he has to pick it up. I've got his numbers up here, 5 for 13 against Arizona, followed by 2 for 8 against Iowa State. Obviously, those are top 10 teams. He did shoot it pretty well against Houston. He had a pretty good game there. But the Arizona games were rough. He had a 3 for 16 against Arizona, too. So, and 5 for 12 and 5 for 13 in tournament games. So, he's got to figure out a way to get those numbers up in the biggest games a little more. And it'll be really different not having AJ there.
I never view numbers as the be-all, end-all. I mean, last year it was those games with Saunders was gone that there was 2 guys, and so I don't want anybody else shooting. So his numbers aren't going to be as good. They're going to be a better shooting team next season, so he won't have to put up a bunch of shots because why pass the ball if you're not passing the ball to AJ?
I may only make 40.
No chance to make it.
I may only make 40%, but that dude's only going to make 30, and the other one's only going to make 20.
Right.
So I'm taking it.
And they had to. So I think Kevin Young, when we're standing in the hallway in Portland in his final comments on the particular season,
he wasn't kidding.
I'm going to go get better shooting. And I think exactly what he's gotten is better shooting. So I expect all those numbers to be better because you don't have to shoot as much. There literally was no point in anybody else shooting except those 2 once Richie went down. No one can argue that. We were all stunned if anybody else made a basket. So I think that's going to lead to some poor shooting numbers, and probably Kevin in privacy is telling him, hey, take it, because these other guys, they ain't got a prayer, and 95% of those other guys are gone. So, yeah, I'm expecting a much more improved young man, as I would anybody who received a lot of playing time and then comes back. He's now going into his junior year, so he's been around the college game. I think for him, and that the smartest decision he made was to stay.
When we come back, conference realignment in the news again. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, there's legislation looming out there. Makes your skin crawl, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
You don't like to talk the politics about sports. You like to talk about the games around sports.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when it comes to that, yeah.
But nonetheless, you've seen a tweet this morning that has caught your attention. These rules and what are they putting together in Congress that could slow down or speed up the changes to college sports, especially college football, but maybe college basketball too, that we all think are out there looming.
Well, our Pete Thamel's talking about does this protect college sports acts? Mm-hmm. And the most scrutinized section is realignment restrictions, new focus. Leagues being capped at 19. And so the Big 12 has 18 and the SEC 16.
Basically telling the Big 10 they can't expand anymore.
Big 12 has 16.
They'll give them room to let in Notre Dame and nothing else. 19 is such an odd number, literally.
And for a team to leave a power conference to join another, they'd have to play 5 years as an independent. Well, that ain't going to work.
Sacramento State and North Dakota State may have made their move just in time.
Well, a group of 6 schools would be allowed to move up in the latest discussions. So if UNLV, for instance, just to use them as an example, whomever,
right,
Boise.
UNLV could move to the Pac-12, or the Big 12 could add a couple teams. They're at 16.
I don't know that the Big 12 is considered
a power league.
The Pac-12, I mean. So they might.
That'd be a group of 5, group of 6 to group of 6. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the Big 12 came calling for 2 teams,
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They're at 16. They could go to 18 or 19. Right.
I'm tired of all this crazy realignment.
I get it. I don't think this thing's going to pass. I mean, they're clearly changing a rule.
Well, I don't know. I think some of it will pass.
Oh, really? Think they'll strip it down and get some core stuff through?
Yeah, like he says that the bill was set to freeze leagues making more than $700 million. Make as much as you want. Or as much as you can, I guess would probably be the better word. But I think this prevents some type of, what's the word?
Consolidation?
Yeah, or
massive expansion by the Big Ten trying to become a national league.
And leaving out so many others. Because I think the Big 12 is fine enough, and go ahead and figure out ways to make as much money as you can in the Big 12. And I don't think all these players are just like rushing to these other conferences any more than they've already been doing.
There's always been change, but it seems like it has sped up to an amazing degree.
Right. So I sort of like this idea of keeping the leagues the way they are. I just don't see what going to the Big Ten is going to be solving every problem that you may have had.
You'll never solve every problem you had. You'll just get a new set of problems.
Why does Utah so
money.
desperately want to be in the Big Ten if they do? Or why does anybody, for that matter?
More money. It seems it's the elite league. I do think that they've been working at it for a while, but seem to get getting better at it and making money through the conference off more than just sports. And I think they think it'll grow their research dollars and all that. The prestige they'll get by being associated with these other schools will help them grow going forward.
You think the athletic department is really worried about that?
No, I think the president and the regents are. I think the ADs are only because they know their bosses are.
Well, if that were the case, why didn't they do it years ago?
Why didn't they do what?
Go
to the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Well, because they haven't been invited yet.
I'm talking about the schools that were invited.
Because they weren't invited until then.
You don't think SC could have gone anytime it wanted?
They probably could if they wanted to pick up the phone and start it, but they knew there'd be a bunch of blowback, including from their own alumni boosters,
blowback
donors.
didn't obviously prevent them from doing it.
There came a point when they were willing to take the risk and do it.
But if it's all about the money and the research and blah blah blah, there is no risk. What risk do you have there in the research and all that stuff?
You'd lose alumni and boosters and donors, but
You're going to lose that anyway.
But eventually, the money got so big there really wasn't even the risk of that, which I think is a quote you literally got from a longtime SC person you know. It simply got it was just too much. It was too big.
And we'll see how it actually benefits them.
So far, not really.
Right.
Now, it's a short window, and maybe they just don't have the right coach right now.
Okay, but that's just football.
Yeah.
The basketball guys, we can set our watch by it. We know it's the winter, and they're doing all this traveling.
In January, there's going to be a road trip. They're going to hate it, and they're going to tell us.
Because they've only done it 2 out of 2.
Right. Maybe we don't have to wait till January. Whenever the schedule comes out, they might start telling us then. But we'll be so football obsessed, we'll ignore it.
I just don't see that's you got to have that. Stay here. Find ways to increase the money and be competitive in this league. Because if that league is so much better If you haven't won the league or not competitive, not to say that Utah hasn't been, because obviously they have, and the first year was curtailed by injury, that I don't see where you're going to be able to be so competitive over there.
I get that thought.
I mean, look at Nebraska. What benefit? Dang, all the money in the world. What benefit did that do to their football program?
It is
Who's
not
the
helped their
latest
football
coach
program.
today? And when does Rule start looking to move on?
And it's
Everybody else has.
It's 20-plus years of this now for Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, they started slipping while they were still in the Big 12, and going to the Big 10 just accelerated it.
Yeah.
It made it worse, not better.
And is that really going to help your recruiting?
Well, I think that's the whole thought with Nebraska, that in the league they were in, they were able to get into Texas and get Texas kids. Now, of course, other things have changed, NIL, and do they have access to NIL dollars and all that. But originally, they went away from their recruiting base, and they made themselves less visible there.
Well, I mean, for Utah, is that going to help their recruiting?
I can see where it would help their recruiting.
It sounds good, but is it going to help?
But the problem is it's offset by you've already got teams there whose recruiting is so awesome. It's like, yeah, you've got better players, but they're not good enough to beat the best players that they've got. I mean, Ohio State is just sending so many guys to the NFL draft every year. It's just like, so if you go from
as they have forever.
Right, as you go from having like 4 or 5 guys drafted to now 6 or 7 guys drafted, right? And then you look up and there's Ohio State having 10 or 12 guys drafted.
Right.
How are we going to beat these guys?
And if I'm going to do all the travel in the Big Ten, why be at Utah?
Now, maybe it's more regionalized by the time Utah gets in, so it's not as bad as it is right now. But we'll see. That's to be determined. But let's see if it's even possible or plausible. I mean, if this passes, then maybe the Big Ten's not expanding and that whole thing's dead. I mean, if this passes with the stuff we're reading here this morning, limited to 19 teams, the Big Ten's already at 18. It seems 19, which is a terrible number, is just there for Notre Dame. Put it at 19.
Oh, yeah, but they could put it at 20, then still have Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You can put it at whatever. You can still get, as long as you have one,
You're
or
not-
they can kick
but they're-
somebody out and
but they're-
bring in Notre Dame.
They're not putting it at 22 or 24 or 28 where, now Utah's odds of getting in are going way up. I mean, the 19 stalls all this stuff we've heard about with the ACC. They could bring in one ACC team. But this whole thought that the ACC is going to get rated here in a few years.
By
the SEC and the Big Ten.
I know, but I mean, who is so attractive that you got to have them?
Miami, Florida State, and North Carolina are the 3 that always get mentioned, and then there's other schools that sometimes get mentioned and sometimes they don't.
Let them go.
Virginia's been mentioned. Yeah.
Let them go.
NC State.
And then they become just another program with lots of money. And
ask Maryland, right?
And
Nebraska.
BYU, they're all those jock sniffer guys who want to donate all this money. They ain't donating it into the whatever research. They donated it for the athletics. Cody Campbell, that's where the glory is.
Arkansas and South Carolina. What'd you do that for?
Yeah, I mean, what's Cody Campbell now is a national figure. And maybe he does give money to the academics, but I'm not saying that they don't, but you don't get any buzz off of it. Nobody knows who you are.
No, nobody knows how many research dollars you're pulling in. I mean, the regents of the president do.
Yeah.
But
everybody knows the Jazz owner now. He wasn't on Pat McAfee before. He ain't any richer now.
Nope. Before he was on DJ and PK.
Right?
We did. We had him on like 2 or 3 times before he bought the team.
Yeah. I mean, I knew who he was.
Yeah.
BYU people knew who he was. Mm-hmm. But now everybody knows who he is.
Yeah. He's outgrown us.
Well,
he still comes on occasionally.
That's fine.
Though. No,
I don't care.
He still comes on occasionally.
It's not. I'm not about not or coming on our show. It's about the expansion. No, it's about the expansion of being a
raise your profile.
Yeah.
Raise your
Mark
profile.
Cuban doing TV shows.
Yep.
Mark Cuban doesn't even have a majority owner in the Mavericks, and they're still asking him what he thinks.
Oh yeah. And I'm not sure how it happened, but he is on social media talking about what healthcare should look like left and right. I'm just scrolling through a timeline during whatever game, and there's Mark Cuban debating healthcare with people. That didn't happen before he bought the Mavericks.
Right.
Raised his profile.
Right. So that's what they want. So be careful on all that stuff. It sounds good and investigate it. Certainly you should investigate. You should investigate all opportunities or most opportunities that come your way. Why wouldn't you? We would all do it individually. If somebody, I mean, it's not going to happen to me now, I'm too far down the line, but if somebody called me and said, hey, what do you think? Well, yeah, I'll check it out. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. It's like what we were talking about.
Wright III.
Yeah.
Got to check it out.
Yeah. Kentucky was interested. Check it out. Especially the system allows it. And you have unlimited transfers. I think eventually they'll realize that that's too much. And instead of, we had all these restrictions, then we went from restrictions to no restrictions. It's like, well, couldn't there be some happy medium there? And it's not, as we spoke about, in the best interest of the individual to keep bouncing around. Is it in the best interest of programs to keep bouncing around?
No.
Is it the best? What are you looking for? What's the goal here? Because it is in the best interest of the tennis team to be going all over the world, and all over the country anyway, and all these other sports that you have. Is that in the best interest of the young woman or young man?
We've had schools, in some cases, leaving leagues and rejoining them. Just in the Big Sky, one of our local leagues, right? Southern Utah got in, then left, then came back. Idaho did the same thing, left and then came back. It's all over the map. And you can't, I just read a thing.
Colorado went home.
Yes, Colorado's another one, left and came back. Yeah. Good example.
Should have never gone to the Pac-12.
Sounded like a good idea, and then went straight into relevance.
I don't think it sounded like a good idea.
Oh, really? You thought it was bad from the get-go?
Yeah, what connection do they have?
I think Denver as a whole tends to look west, but that doesn't matter in pro sports because
pro sports is you can look wherever you want.
Right. But for the colleges, again, back to Nebraska, they were recruiting Texas. It really hurt them. They probably had the wrong person in charge. Well, wrong people because they had multiple people calling the shots. They had a couple of bad hires at the same time they lost the recruiting area. It just turned into a disaster.
Were they all bad hires, or was the situation not good?
Do they not have enough money?
I mean, Colorado, and they had some, I get that, but why all of a sudden would the doors fly open to California recruiting in Colorado? So I'm going to jump over 3 states and a bunch of schools to go there.
And where they went was actually last place.
Yeah. Perennially.
Last. Perennially dead last.
They've had 2 runs, 2 seasons, not runs, seasons. McIntyre had one, and then Dion when he brought in his kid and Hunter. Mm-hmm.
They've had a couple of big
years.
And
they won, 9 games? It's not like they were dominant,
the other
knocking
one,
down the top 10.
Yeah. The other one was 10, I think.
Yeah. And there was no staying power.
And
it went away as fast as it came.
There's a ton of 2, 3, and 4s.
Yeah. So what good did that do? Isn't that Colorado the classic example?
And yet, schools seem to be chomping at the bit to move every year. Every summer, we have a whole list of schools that have realigned.
Yeah, but I think now we're just filling in the blanks.
Well, that did drive it this year because the Pac-12 brought in 6 teams, and the Mountain West brought in teams to replace them.
Right,
and, yeah.
Right.
But it's always something. If it's not one thing, it's another.
Well, I think that might settle down now. The one thing, the not the sport, but the whole college athletic situation, it needs some form of stability.
You'd like to think so, but everybody's doing what's best for themselves, and nobody's looking at the big picture. But
that's the thing. Is it best for themselves? That's the point.
Was it best for Oklahoma and Texas to go to the SEC? Because that set off the whole Big 12. I mean, we had a whole summer with all the Big 12 teams moving and the Pac-12 breaking up. And, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's one thing after another. And I don't know if anybody's that much better off. Who's that much better off because they changed leagues? I mean, Boise State climbed through leagues, so, you can look over 20 years, 30 years and say, okay, Boise State's better off. But how many schools can you look over 20 and 30 years and say you changing leagues really improved your place in the universe? I mean, maybe some teams just had to, with the Big East falling apart, you had to go, or...
Well, yeah, that's what happened to the
Pac-12. You had to... Some teams have had these moves forced. I guess you could say Utah's in a better place. TCU's had a pretty wild ride, but they've ended up in a better place. I mean, TCU's been. Can you even name all the leagues TCU had to bounce through?
Oh yeah, but any team that has a program that has an opportunity to move up.
The Southwest Conference fell apart, so their whole thing was set in motion by something they couldn't control.
And at the time, they had no access. Chris Hill used to say that all the time. Is that I can tell Every other sport, you've got a chance to compete at the highest level, but I couldn't say it at football.
Right. They were Mountain West, Conference USA. I think they were Big East briefly, and then Big 12, or maybe they talked about the Big East and didn't do it. I'm leaving somebody out.
Well, there was no Big East. It never existed.
Yeah, that was
They never
all
played a game.
That was all cobbled together. Well,
but that was for access.
Yeah.
That access now has been greatly changed.
12-team playoff and Big 12, they're in a good place now.
And we understand there's going to be some form of expansion minimally for possibly, 12? Double?
16 or 24 seems like it's coming.
Right.
Don't know when.
So everything has changed dramatically. So you don't need access. The access is already there. Before, TCU was scrambling to get access in a state where there were so many schools that had access. Well, now you got access.
If this passes, it'll be interesting to see what its final form is. You know, they're still working on these amendments and tweaking it and all that.
Right.
And then there'll be the law of unintended consequences. And then inevitably, there'll be a court challenge. So it feels like whatever ride we're on, the ride isn't going to end anytime soon.
No. I understand that. But I don't think we should just dismiss it because there might be some stuff in there, if not all, that some can make the entire realm of college sports better. And I think that's what we're after. I think that's what everybody's after. I think it's what Cody Campbell, who obviously is biased towards Texas Tech, but I still think he wants to make the whole system for every Johnny and Mary better.
But what he thinks is better, the SEC may not think is better.
Well, yeah.
And the Big Ten might not agree with either one of them.
And they don't.
Which is why I think this isn't going to pass. Because in the end, I don't think they're going to be able to.
But I think there might be some form of
Possibly
passage.
they'll find something they can agree on.
I think they will.
When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
Now at McDonald's, get a $5 McChicken meal deal or a $6 McDouble meal deal. They come with small fries, a soft drink, and 4-piece McNuggets. We're going to need a bigger tray. Get more value with your meal deal with McValue.
Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
None of these people know anything. Nobody knows nothing. And I say that respectfully because we haven't made it to where anybody knows anything. I think it's important for people to understand we're not making this about attention and a spectacle. It's not about a decision or anything like that. He has a choice to make. He has a business choice to make. We're not going to sit here and decide or allow someone else to decide when he makes that decision or that choice. It's a business choice that he's making. And I think as an athlete, why is it that an athlete has to rush his choice? From a business perspective, you are making a choice between jobs, high-level jobs, and you've earned the right. You're a big-time executive that's with an unbelievable, arguably the best resume in the history of your job. Who's rushing you? Okay. Nobody.
That's Rich Paul, LeBron James' agent. And even for people who were pretty patient and not irritated, I think they're getting impatient and irritated. But apparently there's no rush.
Got to play the victim, man. People are rushing us. Can't do it. Woe is me. I mean, you've had over a month. You've actually had longer because you knew the Lakers weren't going to renew you. That was pretty obvious. So no one's buying it. And continue to play the victim. Everybody wants to be the victim. I'm the victim working with you.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I'm the victim working with Alex.
I didn't find it that irritating, but my gosh. Because literally everybody else is making a decision and there's a schedule to put out.
Oh, they can put out the schedule.
National TV partners all want his games.
Sure. but he can tell Adam Silver, this is what I'm going to do, but I don't want to announce it until October.
It'll leak. No trust.
It'll leak. I don't know about it'll leak.
It will leak. Will Chamberlain's Laker warm-up jacket sells for $89,600. You know anybody who's into memorabilia? Down there in L.A., you come across those types at all? I don't know. There's people up here, I guess, who are into memorabilia too.
I think they're all over the country. Yeah, I do.
That's a crazy amount of money for a warm-up jacket.
Actually, for a warm-up jacket, I didn't think it was that crazy compared to what some of the other stuff is out there that is mind-boggling. $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever, a card. When you think about it from that perspective, I saw that and thought, no.
At least you could put the warm-up jacket on the wall. It's more of a talking point or something.
Well, you can wear it to parties. I interviewed Wilt. Didn't like my question one time.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. How'd you end up interviewing him?
He called me up. No, there was in San Pedro, California. They did this thing where they started a sports walk of fame. You know, like the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would have in downtown there, right by Petros Papadakis' family's Greek restaurant. They would put the thing in there, have the name in the sidewalk, and then they'd have a ship that would be docked because the harbor was right across the street, basically. And then they'd have a big lunch, big fancy spiel.
Oh.
And so
he got honored at that, and you covered it for the local paper and got to interact with him.
Yeah. And so I asked him something along the lines, come on, Walt, you've had so many awards. Where's this? I kind of slanted it, trying to get a reaction. This can't be that big of a deal. Easy, stilt. So he didn't like the question.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Owners expect another extension for Roger Goodell in the coming months. Contract negotiations, his current contract ends in March. Negotiations already apparently pretty far down the road. They got a new TV deal coming up. He's expected to have a big role in that. He's made them a lot of money. He will continue to make them even more money. 18th game coming, more international games, more cash flowing in. Another $1 billion worth of revenue growth headed their way. So Roger Goodell expected to get another contract.
Did he do it or did the sport do it?
It's probably a combination of both, but since he was there and it was happening, he gets to cash in. I guess that he's probably had to push a little bit on the international front, but it does seem like it's there for the taking. People like events, and it's an event in London. It's an event in Mexico City. It's become an event in Brazil. Apparently, it'll be an event in Germany, and he'll keep targeting big European cities and adding a few more spots around the globe. Obviously, going to Australia this year. Packers and defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt reached a 3-year, $57 million contract extension. That former Steelers star Le'Veon Bell arrested in Ohio in a warrant tied to a child support case. So,
well, that's a bad story. Let's end it on a good story, though.
What do you have?
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers taking photos, put them up on social media. Hashtag fam, except he hasn't had much interaction with his mom, his dad, or sibling, and all of a sudden, picture of mom, dad, and sibling, and everybody looking like they're having a good time. So whatever the issue or issues were, apparently they've come to some type of terms with them. They look like they were smiling and happy, so that's good.
Yeah.
Time healing wounds there, I guess.
Nice.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
So they're real. People have talked about that. They've opined about the frustrations that bring them to the point of saying we should look at something significantly different. I do not believe that is a leverage point. I think that's just honest communication. And so understand that beneath the observation is frustration. But I also know the pride with which I spoke of 13 national championships, and there is meaning and value. And I do think a national expectation that we participate in a national organization. But that national organization must function in a healthy manner.
That's Greg Sankey, commissioner of the SEC, talking about the SEC breaking away. Honest conversations. It's not a leverage point. Sure it is. It can be an honest conversation, a leverage point at the same time. It's absolutely a leverage point. So will something get done in Congress? Because it's really not up to the NCAA or any other. Anything they do gets struck down in the courts. They've lost over and over again. So without antitrust protection or some kind of legislation, it's going to keep happening.
Antitrust.
Yep. It's going to keep happening.
I have no idea what that means. You're the antitrust. That's a.
I bet you had an ASU class that mentioned antitrust.
And I bet I didn't know it then. What do you flight attendants say when you get off the plane?
Bye-bye.
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 See ya. Go ahead, do it. Take Notre Dame, take BYU, take whoever you want, and go ahead and do it. Ruin the game. I'll show you. I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Wrecking NCAA tournaments everywhere.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Do it. I dare you, as you would say.
A double dog dare you.
Well, you never say that. It's just somebody who doesn't shoot to three. It's a daring him to shoot. You never say double dog daring him to shoot. So, well, go ahead. Do it. Just quit talking about it and do it. Let's see how it looks.
Because it's a leverage point. He doesn't really want to do it.
Then stop talking about it.
That's how he gets leverage.
What leverage do they have? What leverage do they need that they don't have?
Trying to scare senators into voting for it.
Scare senators?
Intimidate them. Yep.
Well, first of all, if I take a senator from one party and a senator from the other party, those two aren't going to agree on anything. That's the world we live in. So we already know that. So I think it's falling on deaf ears. Go ahead. Do it, man. Get it over with. Run your own thing. Go form whatever you want to form. Go ahead.
New coach Will Stein says Kentucky will win big, quote, because of me, close quote.
That's exactly what I said in 2002 when we started this show.
Will win big because of me.
Yeah, you doubted me.
Close quote.
Everybody in the world doubted me except one person, me, and my old lady. That's it. I hear you.
That's why coaches get all the money. They're going to win because of them. Might sound weird for him to say it, but nonetheless, that's why they're paying coaches the big money. Josh Heupel confident in Tennessee's offense. Got options at quarterback. Tennessee in the playoff 2 years ago. Got worked by Ohio State. See if they can get back in. Missouri's Ahmad Hardy healed from a gunshot wound. His status still to be determined. Not sure I understand that. If he's healed, why isn't he ready to go? He's second leading rusher in the country last year.
It's antitrust. You just don't have it. So what you're saying is you don't have trust in that statement. So you have antitrust.
LSU cancels the future football series with Arizona State. The off-delayed and now canceled series. You probably knew this. I was surprised to read the 25-year history of we're playing, we got to bounce it back a few years, we got to bounce it back again, and now we're not doing it. LSU series with Utah still in the books, at least for now. We'll see. It's just part of them going to 9 SEC games.
Yeah, I don't understand why they have to cancel these things. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't care. It's not anything I'm going to lose sleep over, but it doesn't make any sense to me why you have to cancel it.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Now you hack away, I think. Or maybe you try to bunt again. Yep, they're going to. The bunt is down, and it's fumbled by the first baseman, and the Royals win it.
3-0. It hits Adele, and the Angels walk it off in the bottom of the ninth. Wow.
Swung on and destroyed. It's on its way. Upper deck just short. Going sail away. Grand slam. Cal Raleigh.
First pitch to Turner, swung on, hit down the left field line. It is hooking there. It hits the pole. It's a home run, a 3-run home run for Trey Turner. The Dodgers think it's in play. It is not.
Phillies end up beating the Dodgers 10-7. A wild game there. Phillies end up with the W. The Boston Red Sox walk off the Baltimore Orioles, make it 14 in a row, PK. How far are they going to stretch it out? Club record is 15. Here we go.
Well, baseball, it's just a crazy game in this way. The Cubs, at one point, lost 10 in a row. Mm-hmm. Before that, they had won 20 of 23. You just never know with this sport. That's what makes it exciting to a lot of different people, is that you can get hot. Every team has the dream of getting hot. We've seen it with the Phillies. They sucked earlier, fired their manager, and now they just beat the Dodgers. Bryce Harper hit his 200th home run. He turns 34 in November. He's not really a home run hitter in the true sense, but they got hot. And so that's the dream every team has, of getting hot. And things go your way, and all of a sudden you become unstoppable.
Capture that lightning in a bottle, and suddenly you're the it team. Other games, the Angels come from behind to beat the Cardinals. You heard that, winning on a hit by pitch. The Angels, 106 games in a row without coming from behind in the ninth inning to win. By far the longest streak in the majors. They finally pull it off and get their come from behind ninth inning victory.
Is that right? You're reading that, aren't you?
No, I saw it last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You just... And you're there for the people at all times.
Not necessarily.
Yes. Well, name me a time.
Some other stuff I didn't know. I didn't know Bryce Harper, that was home run 200. So there's that. And you heard Cal Raleigh go deep. Mariners beat the Reds 8-0.
After they walked a batter ahead of him. See, I got it right here, though. I subscribe to MLB.com, and it just says it right here.
DJ and PK.
Look at it every morning.
#BYU.
BYU basketball releasing their 2026-2027 non-conference basketball schedule, guaranteed to face 3 teams to reach the NCAA tournament: Ohio State, Queens, and Utah State. Other potential interesting games: Omaha, San Diego State on the schedule, and PK, a tournament that catches your eye and brings memories flooding back.
Yeah, they're going to Maui, yeah. I've been there several times. It's a beautiful tournament. It's hard to do a lot of stuff there while you're there, because they play those games in the middle of the day for TV purposes back in the mainland. But it's fun to be there. I've got many memories there, bringing my parents and getting into the hotel, which is now a timeshare hotel over there on the west side. And we're going to stay in the room together. She immediately lights up. I said, "You can't smoke in here." "Oh, I'll just go out on the balcony." "You can't smoke on the balcony. They can smell it. They'll get charged $200. So she would get up every morning early and go outside, downstairs, and smoke. And they came. Played Kapalua with my father the day after. Another time I was there, Thanksgiving Day, got a call from my sister. "Your father just had a heart attack." And he ended up living another 10 years. But he had the heart attack on Thanksgiving Day, and we were coming back that day. And that was... I went to Los Angeles, and instead of catching a flight here with my wife and kids, I took the flight over to Arizona, and that was when they were firing Gary Croton. And so I was bedside at the time, and somebody on that message board thing, the Cougar thing, said that I had been suspended. And meanwhile, Tom Holmoe calling me while I'm literally bedside to make sure, or to check in how everything is going, because where is he? And he found out, his father had a heart attack. And so on the message thing, they said that I had been suspended.
Oops. Forerunners to social media. Super accurate.
Yeah. But it's a good opportunity to play some quality competition, most likely.
Arizona, BYU, Clemson, Colorado State, Ole Miss, Providence, VCU, and Washington. Those are the 8 teams going out to Maui this year.
Yeah, maybe they would have Arizona and BYU in the opposite brackets.
Think so, having the 2 Big 12 teams there?
Yes.
Setting up the possibility of so many meetings between BYU and Arizona this year. Playing Maui, play a couple times in the regular season, play in the conference.
Well, certainly that would be attractive to us. I would like to see that in the final game on that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I think they still play it on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That'd be great. There's one other time there. I was covering it, and the Utes were in it, and I think it was Indiana and Duke were in it, and so they had an open air Sunday press conference, and Donnie Daniels was sitting in for Majerus, and they had said Rick Majerus had a prior commitment, and as the thing is getting started, and there was Bob Knight talking. Here comes Majerus right out of the workroom, all sweaty, with a towel over his shoulder. That was his commitment.
Hey. Because Bob Knight has to show up doesn't mean he needs to miss a workout or a trip to the beach.
And those workouts really made a difference.
Clearly. So those tip times, basically you can have breakfast on the beach and then you go to the gym and go to work after brunch on the beach?
Yeah, you're there in the middle of the day.
Because the time difference to the East Coast must be like 6 hours.
Yeah. And that time I took my parents, my father, I got him a ticket to go to the game. And it's in the dinky. It's a bad high school gym. You know, high school gyms now these days are awesome. And this is an old
one.
Yeah, and it's basically a little civic center. So he was sitting right behind there's just bleachers, 10 rows of bleachers. So he's sitting in the first row. And Majerus got a tee because it was a horrible call. And I got to give Majerus credit. He, towards the end, for the last 7-8 years, he barely said boo to the referees unless it was some foul discrepancy. Well, this one was like a travel, clearly right in front of him. And it should have been called, no question. So he goes back and slams the water cooler, and the thing pops open and spills on my father.
Well, now I remember that happening. Now I want to go back and see that.
And he, my father just didn't have the finances to do any of that stuff. And so he loved it. He just loved being there. I got him into the press room, and he loved that. And it was a great experience for them.
BYU will play exhibition games with Nebraska in the Marriott Center and UNLV in the Thomas and Mack Center. And that exhibition game at UNLV is their sole true road game. And they're playing San Diego State and Palm Springs. So they will go out of state. But most of the games, Maui obviously, they're traveling. Most of the games at the Marriott Center, they do have a game with Northwestern in the Delta Center.
Yeah, a few years back, Palm Springs built a nice regular-size arena just on the east side of I-10. And so that's a great opportunity there. And that's a series that should continue. There's usually 2 pretty good teams. They've obviously been playing each other for years. I like that they can continue to do that, wherever it might be, if it's home or away, or in this case, neutral. I really don't care. It's a good game that people will pay attention to.
They also have Ohio State at the Delta Center. So Monday, November 2nd, that should be a tough ticket, right? You'd like to think?
Yeah. I suppose. Delta Center's pretty big, but yeah, Ohio State's, they're not what they are in football, obviously, but it's better than Chico State. No offense to Chico State.
DJ and PK.
#golf.
Live Golf sued for more than $1 million by a technology company alleging unpaid bills. One more warning shot about the future of Live. Doesn't really sound like Live is arguing it either. They're not paying it, so you got to sue them, but they're not really arguing that they're behind on the cash. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
Barrett Hayton meeting with the media, relieved after the Utah Mammoth matched the offer sheet. He is back for another year. And if you missed his long conversation with Cole Bagley, get it wherever you get your podcasts. It's up on YouTube. It's up on KSLSports.com. It is available lots of places.
Yeah, he wants to be back. He wanted to be back. He was relieved. This is where he wanted to be. But the system required him to do what he needed to do there and go forth on that.
Get an offer.
Yeah, and so they match it, and he'll come back and be part of the nucleus, and away we go. A couple months away now.
See how this season goes for him individually and the group, and then he'll be back and be a restricted free agent next season. 1 year, $4.775 million. What is trending? Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, DJ and PK, we're taking a break. When we come back, it is time for the question of the day. That is next. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G, the coach, Thursday from 10 to 2. They'll be at Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy, 10785 South Automall Drive. DJ and PK, the question of the morning, which is really the question of the decade. Or maybe it's a question of 2 decades.
My life.
Pretty much. Do you think a move out of the Big 12 is required for BYU and Utah to play big-time football? And I think Matt speaks for me and people of my generation when he says, I'm old enough to remember when BYU and Utah both thought being in a power football conference was a fever dream. Now we're asking if the Big 12 is big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are, Matt, but I get it. Excellent perspective. Back in the days of the WAC in the 80s and 90s, please, come on. That's a crazy thought. Getting into the Big 12 sounded awesome at that point. Sounded like it couldn't happen. I got tired of talking about it. And then it happened for the Utes in the Pac-12, and now it's happened for both of them in the Big 12.
Well, I would say since about 2015, 2016, I thought it was going to happen for BYU in the Big 12.
Yeah, I can see that. It trended that way.
Based on intense conversations and how and they had people in the Jazz organization who were working on it for them and putting together packages and all that.
There was in that era they did a presentation and the word came back that they were Team 11, but there was no Team 12, so the conference didn't make a move. But at that point, there had been so many changes in the big football leagues, and there were expected to be so many more.
It's only a matter of time.
Right, exactly. It's going to happen. Either they'll need a 10th team or they'll want to add a 12th team, and it turned out both those things happened.
Yeah.
They needed a 9th team.
Now, at no point at that time did I ever think they would be conference mates, speaking of Utah and BYU, in the Big 12, or for that matter, anywhere, because the Pac-12 had dug in. Hypocritically, I might add, because they had no problem playing them.
BYU, but didn't want them in the league.
Yeah.
But it did look like it was going to settle into a Utah be in the Pac-12 and BYU will be in the Big 12. You could foresee that.
That's what I thought.
But there were so many changes that came that we couldn't foresee, including that entire league breaking up and people going to 4 different leagues. Still sounds crazy to say, but nonetheless it happened.
Yeah, and I was excited for that. Now, I always wanted them to be in there, BYU, to replace Colorado.
You were excited for what when you see that?
To have one be in the Pac-12, one be in the Big 12. Because we dreamed of and talked about a situation where an SC would be at Rice-Eccles and at the same day
Oklahoma or Texas would be at BYU, and it sounded like, again, back to what Matt said, a fever dream.
Yeah. But I thought that was from 2016, 2015, somewhere in there, I thought that was a legitimate possibility. Mm-hmm. I felt it was only a matter of time. The BYU situation, whatever the hang-ups were for the Pac-12, you talk to Ronald Feldberg and he'll say religious discrimination and so forth. The Big 12 didn't seem to be bothered by that as much. And so it was going to happen in that way, I thought. And then obviously the crumbling of the Pac-12 was shocking.
We got 1 year of the Pac-12, Big 12. And we did get it because Oklahoma came in and played BYU and But even the year it happened, we knew it was a one-year deal.
Right, because they had already announced it.
Pac-12 was already splintering.
Well, and yeah.
And Oklahoma and Texas were on their way out, and everything was changing.
Right.
And I think that's my answer to this. Do you think a move out of the Big 12 is required for BYU and Utah to play big-time football? Not in the current setup, but if everything is going to be changing again in the way everything changed from 2015 to 2025, then the answer to that may well end up being yes. But I think that's dependent on everything changing. I think as things are set up now, you can play big-time football.
Well, we're looking ahead. It's not right today. It's not this season. We understand that. It is what's down the line. And so what we're looking for down the line, can we look to the way it was? Did they play, I guess you put the quality qualifier in there, big time enough? When they're going to the Sugar Bowl and beating Alabama, they're not viewed as big time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were. They beat Alabama, and I realized Nick Saban was in the process of getting it going.
It was year 2.
But it was still Alabama. I am sick and tired of our teams beating big dogs
and there's
having
an explanation.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be there.
Right,
says Dan Patrick when he comes through town doing interviews.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of whether BYU or Utah beats somebody who's really good, brand name. Maybe they're not that great that season, but yet if they get smoked, it's never, BYU Utah was having a down season. That doesn't it doesn't go both ways. So I'm sick of that. I'm tired of that. And that was one of the few times I was in the press box friggin' openly rooting for one of the locals. I always did it when I went to New Mexico for basketball because they sat you in like the 10th row right in the middle of the fans.
Surrounded by people who are animals.
Yes.
Screaming and throwing
and
stuff.
You had to look on the baseline over there at the Sore Rat. And
could you see the whole court, or with everybody's fans standing up, did you end up getting screened? Because sometimes on the road I had that problem.
You'd have to stand up. I mean, because they packed the place in New Mexico. Great fan base and all. So, but it would be like towards the end of the game they wouldn't stand up because most of it's like Arizona. Most of the fans are 65 years old.
Students are the ones who get on their feet and stay on their feet. They provide all the energy.
And then in that Sugar Bowl, that was right when I had made the transition over from hardcore, neutral at all times print, and they put me in the radio section, which was new to me at the time. And I'm over there, and I'm watching these Alabama people. And it was just so foreign to me. It's like you placed me in a situation that I had never been after having been in the business for over 20-some years. And it was awkward. And then I figured, what the crap? If this is the way it's going to be?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I'm going to start cheering up a storm when the Utes. I would have never have done that because you can't do that in a regular press box. But in the Sugar Bowl, they had a separate area for radio TV, which didn't have the same I am the jurist of the world and I will save democracy attitude that print journalists, to this day, it's a dying breed, unfortunately, but to this day they have. It's why I call the paper I worked for the Watchdog, because they believe that democracy in this town will crumble if the newspaper would go away, and I tend to agree with them. Not crumble, but I certainly don't want it to go away. So I figured, what the heck? And so they already did that, and they had guys, half that defense played in the NFL. So they got guys that weren't in what we would now consider the power structure, and they still sent dudes regularly to the NFL. In that case, I think literally 5 or 6 defensive starters played in the NFL.
They did. You remember correctly. That's how it happened.
Right. So they didn't need to be in the so-called power league to get that type of talent.
In 2008, they had everything. They had 99% of the deal. It's that last 1% of respect. They were undefeated. They did get to play in a major bowl game. They did get to play a big-time team. They got to play some big-time teams that were really good along the way in the regular season. But there is that 1%, like, you're undefeated. You don't get to play for the title. We'll never vote you for the title. But the fans loved it. The stadium was sold out. People traveled in massive numbers. So you had everything in big-time football except that last 1%, which some people would say, well, DJ, that's the most important 1%. Well, I think that's a subjective deal. It's got maybe it is to you and it isn't to the next person.
That's gone now anyway.
Now you got a 12-team playoff. And that version of that team would have certainly qualified. They'd have been the team in as a G5, G6 school, and they'd had their chance to prove it on the field. And Bama would have been in as a runner-up.
Yeah.
That would have been a quarterfinal game.
Tell me why they need to be in these groups to get what you have. There's no way. There's just simply no way. And maybe that's just a wish that the SEC can do their thing and then have a playoff, and all of a sudden we don't have a playoff. The TV people aren't going to buy that. They don't want that. If the SEC does this, they become the live. A high-powered, more interested live golf. It'll fracture, and then no.
If everybody else stays together and that happens, I can totally see your point. If the Big Ten pulls away and does their own thing, I can see them both doing their own interior playoff or whatever.
And the public won't accept it.
And then they play like a Super Bowl.
No, the public won't accept it.
I do think a big part of the public won't accept it. No. I mean, it's still, they'll have enough viewers, they'll play the game, and they'll make the money. It won't be the same. And I do think that in that scenario, then the West goes the way of the Northeast in college. You don't have so many places in the West don't have a horse in the race. It's like, well, why does it matter?
Well, then the ACC and the Big 12 can have theirs. And then
you have the
AAC and the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the Sun Belt does theirs.
So do they all sign their TV deals and we have 3 to 5 to 10 years of a mess and then it all reforms and looks like something again?
I just don't see it. I think at that point, where I said 2 senators, if they're of the different parties, they don't agree on anything, they'll agree on that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make the objective of a politician is to get elected or to get reelected. And you got to be popular.
Those are the two goals.
TV sportscasters and anchors and politicians, they're the same people. It's all about popularity.
If you don't have popularity, you don't have a gig.
Yeah.
Therefore.
And you crumble if your popularity, whereas in print, it's like, bring it on. I love it. Hate me all you want. I covered Preps in Pedro, and Mary Starr Catholic School started a petition to get me removed.
So the Democratic senators from Illinois will agree with the Republican senators from Indiana.
Yeah.
And the Republicans from Iowa will agree with the Democrats from Pennsylvania because they're all represented in the Big Ten.
And the ham bone is connected to the tailbone. Yeah. So at that, you'll have a national uproar.
This is a rare thing where it could be the senators from Nevada or North Dakota. Doesn't matter party. They could be going the opposite way. What are you doing? Hawaii senators. Hawaii getting cut out. No chance. No chance to live the dream. And Alaska's got no dog in the hunt, so who are they voting for? They're trading their vote for some other issue.
If the SEC could do it, they would have done it instead of talking about it. And next year, depending on what happens, is SAVE, Act, blah, blah, blah. And keep me abreast of the antitrust stuff because that's your thing. And so then we'll go through it again. And they'll be threatening again. Well, they keep crying wolf, guys. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because each time you do it, it's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
They're saying stuff for leverage. And your point that you made yesterday, how much, what do they really want? How much do they need? What does the stripped down bill look like? Because negotiating all the stuff and getting it through, it's hard to believe the votes are there for.
Sure.
But you might find a few things you can agree on.
That's the way it works.
And is that good enough?
I don't know if you know this, but that's the way antitrust works.
It's not the way antitrust works, but it is the way the way Congress used to work.
You have to have trust in people. And if you don't have trust in people, what do you have? You have antitrust. You follow that, Alex? That doesn't make sense here. You're a younger guy. Your mind is fresher. You're 26 now. Your brain has been fully formed. Scientists tell us. Only been a year, but I've noticed a big difference in you in this last year as your brain is fully formed. If you don't have trust, what do you have? You have antitrust.
That's how it goes.
Yeah,
he just keeps talking. That's a good, solid answer, Alex. Don't engage.
You don't. There's no need to engage with truth.
Yeah.
It speaks for itself.
That's the definition of antitrust.
Exactly.
You can't even say that with a straight face, Alex. He's in there cracking himself
because
up.
He gets it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he do.
No, what he gets is you.
I'm not the begotten.
Sometimes you are.
If that were the truth, I'd be the only begotten on this show.
Darren wants them to stay. Expanded playoffs, stay in the Big 12, and grow. And Cam Potter says, I think the Big 12 is perfect for these teams.
I don't know that anything is perfect. But my standard is well enough, good enough, strong enough, those types of things.
How much change would the Big 12 need to undergo before you felt like a move had to happen? Because I think right now you don't think a move has to happen. You think they're playing big-time football. The way you talk about it, the way you...
I think when Arizona comes in here the second week of September against BYU, that is big-time football. And the TV people are telling me that that's big-time football because they slotted it at 1:30, 3:30 back east. So all the stuff they have to do on Saturday is over at that point. And you can sit down and watch the game. So they're telling us it's big time. So, yes, I do. I believe it is.
So how much change would the Big 12 have to undergo?
I think there'd have to be something that denied access. That's the thing. When you just spoke about the Utes in 08, they did everything, and they still couldn't be voted in. I mean, that's basically what we had.
That was the era of the BCS title game.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to play in that one game, and you had to play in that one game for the voters to vote you number one. And Kyle famously stood up there on the podium and said, well, I'm going to vote us number one. We're undefeated.
I was in the audience, and I stood up and applauded. I said, you go, boy!
TV mics didn't pick you up, unfortunately.
Well, I thought of it. And that was the year that BYU played 3 undefeated teams, and one of them was SC. And after the game at Rice Eccles, Brady Papinga, who played many years in the NFL and kind of a nut job sometimes, but he also knows what he's talking about, stood right in front of him, and he said, this team, speaking of Utah, was right there with SC. He said it right after the game. He told his version of the truth, and he was out on the field. He talked about how the schemes and blah, 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 everything. So he spoke from a level of truth, but yet they couldn't. So if it gets to that point, then there's an issue because then it'll go back. We'll go back to the future of what Chris Hill said. I can tell every single athlete that we bring on campus, man, woman, you can play for it all except football. And he would openly say that.
Yep.
And
he said it multiple times.
If it gets to that point, you sort of got me then. But I just can't see it being at that point without a national uproar. We've handled the transfer portal. There's uproars, but no one's really doing anything about it. And we've handled the money, and we've handled coaches bailing on their teams when you're all in or in the way. Family money on 3 for the NIL and all that other stuff. We've handled it. The public has spoken. It's crazy, but we still love it. And something's got to change, but we still love it, right?
Hard to argue that when you look at the last 30 years, man. So much has changed, and if anything, we love it more than ever.
Last 5 to 10.
Last 5, yeah. It's really been constant change. It hasn't really...
Right, but it's been...
There was a decade...
The constant change was similar. These last several years, the change has been unprecedented.
More dramatic,
and it was never had done. They were being paid, but it was all under the table type thing and blah, blah, blah. And then I see an executive hand a player an envelope, and I go, I mean, I've known about this for years, but you can't do that in front of me.
Yeah, actually, by the time it was done in front of you, it was totally legit and above board.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just made me laugh that I'm old enough to think, and I had stories, I knew of them, I was told of them, blah, 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 blah,
specific names and teams.
And I just rolled with it. And,
which all matched up with what you'd seen.
Yeah. And so we went in that direction, and they handed him the envelope with the cash inside or the check inside, and I actually thought, this is the way it should be. Now, it's spiraled. It's crazy, and it's unfortunate. My Devils lose a quarterback and a running back because of money. And one goes to Texas, one goes to LSU. And 3 years ago, I told you about a backup infielder that an SEC team, an athletic director told me a starter on his team, baseball, they lost him because the other school in the SEC wanted insurance in case their middle infield, short or second, got hurt. So they're going to pay the kid $250,000 to sit on the bench and be an insurance policy. And he took it because it was way more money than he was getting. It was more than double than what he was getting as a starter. In that case, it would have been Pac-12. Or Pac, whatever. I know not all the teams played. Only Colorado had a team, but you get the point.
I literally told that story to a friend of mine. Her grandkid is an athletic prodigy. And in this whole pay-to-play environment, in the sport he's in, which I'll tell you in a second, in the sport he's in, he's got these adults who are like, hey, you need to come join this group and pay this amount of money. We'll coach you up. And he's already shown a lot of promise that's measurable. And then, so he was talking to a guy he knows who's a couple years older, who's already been recruited, who's in the SEC, and he said, be careful about injuries from too much training because they will overwork you trying to prove how tough they are. But as far as the money, you'll pay that back with your NIL in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. PK, they're running track. They're paying track stars in the SEC. That's not the first sport you think would get NIL. And she said, does that ring true to you? And I said, and she knows about you and listens to the show sometimes. I said, yeah, here's a PK story. And I told her that infielder story. And she goes, it's all true. And I'm like, yeah. In the SEC it is. I don't think you're getting that kind of money, if you're running at Weber State.
Oh, right.
Right.
Well, that's why they're
it's
going
an SEC
there.
thing. Right. I said, that's why they're leaving Arizona State. It's like.
I didn't say Arizona. Oh, you.
But the Arizona State baseball story. Yeah.
No, I didn't say Arizona State baseball. Arizona State football. But
okay, Arizona State football.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, that's why they're leaving some schools and going to others. And you can, first off, you can guess. You're not getting that money at UC Santa Barbara. You're not in anything.
Yeah, but you're trading other stuff for it, though, man.
There it is.
Pretty sweet to me.
Well, the kid's been to a camp there. They ran on the beach every day, and he thought that was fairly awesome.
That's until we get to that point. I say stay where you are and let your mark do his thing.
Mostly people agree with you. There's a couple exceptions. We'll get to them next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Win big tomorrow on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Tickets Wednesday. This week, you win a pair of tickets to see Post Malone with special guest Jelly Roll at Carter Faith at Rice-Eccles Stadium on July 28th. Tickets are on sale now at LiveNation.com. Get your tickets today and listen to KSL Sports Zone all day tomorrow for your chance to win.
That's why he's playing Posty right now. I get it. I'm on to you.
Alex knows what he's doing.
I had to introduce him to Post Malone last time he subbed, but...
He did introduce me to Post Malone.
He had some help.
Do you think a move out of the Big 12 is required for BYU and Utah to play big-time football? Most of you are saying, no, it is not. Now, there are a couple people who dissent. Jason, Utah was in the Pac-12 for 12 years, and trust me, Utah's been there. Been in the big time, and the Big 12's not the same.
Wait, well, I was in it for 45 years.
Jason agrees. He says USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, or TCU, Texas Tech, K-State, and Kansas. Basically, they're saying they want the sizzle that comes with a big brand name, and that's what the Big 12 is missing.
But it went away. No, the Big 12, no.
To them, it's not the big time without
because
the sizzle.
they missed it because it was fun to go to, and that was your conference, and it's not, and you're trying to hold it over BYU's head. I get it. There's politics involved in everything.
Brand names matter, and people want sizzle. Although the brand names, as we're seeing, the brand names can slip, and it's not really big-time football. You can have big-time football without a glossy brand, but people want some people want both.
What university's football program dominated the offseason in discussion and talks?
Texas Tech.
Yes.
For the wrong reasons.
Doesn't matter.
There's no bad publicity, Mark Cuban. Back to Texas.
Well, there is, but I don't think
that wasn't enough, right?
Yeah.
They want the sizzle that goes with the steak. And USC has gone to Provo, and Notre Dame has gone to Provo, and Notre Dame's going again, and the sizzle matters there. There is a little bit, I'm sure, of the whole Utah-BYU, the rivalry and all things. But both fan bases have reacted pretty positively when they got a chance to soak up the sizzle.
And people still talk about the Texas ASU game. It's just now what you need is your conference brethren to really do well. And that was foreign to some people. Now it really, really matters.
People will be taking note how the Big 12 performs.
Yes.
So it needs to perform.
If the Devils somehow go down to College Station and beat A&M,
that's a big win for the Big 12.
That is huge for everybody in the conference. Huge for the Devils, but huge for everybody.
And BYU beating Notre Dame, same deal.
The night following month. Yes, absolutely. There's no
then
question.
It gives the Utes more. If the Utes can beat BYU in November, it will give them more credibility if BYU is beating Notre Dame in October.
There's just no question about it. So I think that we've been talking about this, but now because of this separation possibility, you need your conference members and teammates, so to speak, to really do well. That's a fact.
All right, DJ and PK, we are taking a break. When we come back, more college football. A national voice checking in. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined now by Bill Bender from the Sporting News to talk some college football. Bill, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
Good. You know, we would really love to talk college football, but you can't talk college football these days without talking politics. That must be the most enjoyable part of your job, trying to count votes in the Senate to figure out if we're going to have a college football playoff or if we're going to have a breakaway. And what is the SEC doing? What are they doing, Bill? What do you think?
Well, you know, I think, one, it's kind of an empty gesture in some ways to me. Yes, there's always going to be Super League talk. Yes, I always find it fascinating, because the sport has different tiers, even within the Power Four conferences, even within those conferences themselves. You mentioned it. I think in the last 3 off seasons, I've probably spent more time talking about what's going on off the field than what's going on it. And that was the case, obviously, all summer this season to this point.
Yeah, and here we are now with the SEC having its meetings and people saying, oh, the threat of them leaving, it's real. I don't know that I buy it, man, because if it's real, then do it. And it seems that it's in the talk stage. What do you forecast as far as what you hear?
Well, I don't think anything of it, at least in the short term, just because in a lot of ways it's a national sport now, right? It's no longer a regional sport where when I was growing up, you watched the Big Ten, right? You watched the Big Ten, and that was it. You knew very little about the SEC and the Big 12 and what was going out west, other than it looked nice in the winter when you saw the Rose Bowl games. But I think it's a national sport now. Who's going to watch an all-SEC league outside of the southeast part of the country? I can tell you right now, my buddies wouldn't watch it at all.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and to build on that, I would say, the interest in the sport, how it has changed is, and I not just because it's my job, but I'm into like a Utah-Texas Tech game. I'll sit there on a Friday night and watch Texas Tech play Houston now with interest because I think part of it is twofold. Part of it is, the playoff is expanded and those kind of things, and the conferences are fun. And there's an NFL element to that where you get to know these guys to the next level. And two, I just love college football, right? What happened to just liking it? It's never going to be like it was in 1984, 1994, or even 2004. but it doesn't mean that the sport on the field isn't pretty cool.
Right. When the ball goes up, we tend to forget about all the other nonsense.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that's the case this year because all of these conferences have fun storylines. Like, for example, at SEC, you've got Lane Kiffin at LSU is a very interesting storyline to me, right? Like, I know the way that he left Ole Miss and the way that he came to LSU, there's a ton of pressure on the Tigers. I know that game in September. Again, that's another example. Like, I'm excited to watch LSU play Ole Miss. Now, granted, the reason why is I want to see Lane Kiffin walk into that stadium and see how it goes. But it's just another example of why this sport has gone national and why that's good.
LSU, Texas in the SEC title game would pit two guys who worked together for Norm Chow at USC and who both tried their luck at USC and it didn't work. I think there's a million storylines if we can get to that point. We'll see if they're good enough to get to that point. Somebody like Georgia might mess that up. But here I am on this side of the country, and I watch the Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12 as I've grown up, and I would love to see that. I think those two on a big stage like that would be, well, personally, I would find it hilarious, and who knows what they would say, text, or tweet to put a little extra juice on what would already be a big game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Texas, I've been asked about them a lot this summer, and I think one of the things about Texas is of those teams that you might consider a true national championship contender. I'm talking Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Notre Dame, and, those upper-tier schools, Georgia. I don't want to leave out Georgia. Georgia we're not talking about enough. Mm-hmm. I would say Texas has the most pressure on them, and specifically Sark, because they've been to the playoff 2 of the last 3 years. They've had Arch. They brought in a lot of portal additions like Hollywood Smothers, Relief Brown, Cam Coleman, Rasheem Biles on defense. The roster's loaded. I would anticipate when that SEC preseason poll comes out, if it hasn't already, that Texas might be picked to win the conference, if not Georgia. And so, like you said, if it were Texas Ole Miss and you had Lane and Steve, these are two of the best coaches in the country that haven't won a national title. But the more time it takes for them to get to that national title, the pressure is going to build.
I'm going to throw a theory at you and get your response. The transfer portal has actually created more interest, and people talk about it's the Wild Wild West and it's got to be reined in, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of publicity and attention and viewership, even if it's from the positive, you've added these transfers. You look at like Oklahoma State, right? They've sucked these last couple years amazingly. They just went in the toilet. And now they bring in the North Texas people, the coach, the quarterback, and away they go. So that's a sense of a positive. But how about the negative, too, to where I'm a Sun Devil, man. I went to Arizona State to quote the line in the movie, right? Well, you best believe there is no way I'm going to be rooting for LSU. Right? They took the quarterback. And you just mentioned Texas, Relief Brown. He sat on the bench. He had a hamstring a couple years ago, didn't do anything. The first-string running back gets hurt early last year. They bring him in. He runs for over 1,000 yards. He takes the money. Now, I don't begrudge him taking the money. No problem at all. That's the system. If I had a kid, if it was me, and that's what you wanted to do, absolutely. But there's no way I'm going to be rooting for Texas. So right now I got 2 SEC teams that I'm going to be rooting against. So they're going to pique my interest. I'm going to see every week what they're doing. So in that regard, the transfer portal, I could argue, has created even more interest in a sport that I think is the second most popular in our country.
It's created a lot of interesting side effects, that being one, where you have quarterbacks that leave one school and then go win a Heisman Trophy somewhere else. And that rate's pretty high, honestly.
Yeah, LSU has already done that to me once before. I hate him even more. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, LSU did it to Ohio State, too, by the way, with some guy named Joe Burrow. So
there you go.
He
I
did
loved
all
it
right,
then because I hate Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it does create interest. You know what? The other thing, I think it does create opportunities. Where I would reel it in, and I've always kind of stood on this, I do think you should be able to transfer once. And then if you transfer again, you should sit a year. And if that goes against your 5 for 5, so be it. Because I think we do live in this environment where it makes it hard to re-recruit guys. But in terms of the interest of the sport, I don't think the portal has hurt anything at all. Other than it's kind of like what college basketball went through when guys were going to the NBA draft right away. I grew up in the 90s and 80s and 90s, and in the 90s, you had an attachment to like a basketball roster. Like I can still reel off the starting five for like Arkansas in 1994, right? But you can't do that as much now. Yeah, Corliss Williamson, Scotty Thurman. I could get the, Corey Beck. That was a really good team, right? And I think that attachment is lost a little bit. But the trade-off is there is some excitement around the sport in places. I mean, Indiana's proof of that. If you guys would have told me 5 years ago, 3 years ago even, hey, Billy, Indiana's going to win the national title, and they're going to dominate everybody, and they're going to go 16-0, I would have told you there is no chance in that would ever happen. But Kurt Cignetti's been able to do it on a pretty accelerated timeline there, obviously.
Bill Bender joining us. He writes for the Sporting News. He is a glutton for punishment. I love the fact that you in early July have the courage to put up college football predictions for the bowl games, the 12-team playoff, and the national championship. I'm sure fan bases are all furious with you. But BYU fans, they probably like the fact you put them in the playoff over Texas Tech. Why? What do you see there?
Well, here's the thing, and here's a secret behind the curtain. When we were putting together our college football preview magazine, which is available on newsstands, shameless plug there, nice. We at first had Texas Tech winning the Big 12, and this was before the Brendan Sorsby debacle that took up a month of the offseason. You slide them down, and then all of a sudden, to me, it becomes, okay, this could be – Texas Tech can still win the Big 12. I think three other teams, BYU, Utah, and then Houston, who I really like coming off a 10-win season. Those are kind of your contenders now. I do think with BYU, you bring back L.J. Martin, you bring back a strong running game, and Bear Bachmeier started to throw the ball a little bit better towards the end of the season. He had 325 yards in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Combine that with the defense. And, Utah, the one thing there is obviously the coaching staff. They're a little bit of a shakeup, not a little bit when Kyle Whittingham leaves. But I'm telling you, Houston, Willie Fritz has got them on the right page, and they've got two really good quarterbacks in Connor Wigman and Keyshawn Henderson. So that's that top tier of the Big 12 with schools like Arizona State and Kansas State. And you mentioned Oklahoma State. They might be the most intriguing team in the Big 12 to me. Maybe not this year, but within 2 years, I think Eric Morris is going to have them going really, really, really strong.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, that's what we're going to be interested in following there in this conference, and I think it's from my perspective, it's going to be entertaining. And also, we have another local team. We've the Wasatch Front here in Utah. We've expanded our local connection to Ann Arbor, Michigan, for obvious reasons, right? I mean, their coaching staff, their players, and so forth, and Kyle Whittingham, who we've all known for many, many years in this market. He's been such a stable. I don't even have to say it anymore. You already know that. Michigan, very tough schedule. The AD stepping down and all this stuff. Kyle just brought in to clean it up. What do you make of that entire situation that he is now obviously eyeball deep in?
Well, I think for the last 5 off seasons, we've had a Michigan story that wasn't a good one. Whether it was a recruiting scandal or a sign stealing scandal or what happened with Sharon Moore and now Ward Manuel. And I think within the administration, the cleanup is underway. The one thing they won't have to worry about is on the football field, you have a serious man, right? A serious coach. And I think he's going to bring a little bit of maturity to a roster and a program that maybe didn't have that last year. And I would say this. So Michigan went 9-3 last year, and they lose to Oklahoma on the road, USC on the road, and Ohio State comes in and beats them. If Michigan goes 9-3 this year against that schedule you mentioned, where they're playing Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. They're playing Oklahoma. If they do that, I think the vibe around the program would be completely different because it would show that Bryce Underwood developed, that their defense was okay, and that Kyle Whittingham knows what he's doing, which I think he does. I'm really interested. One layer of that, he was around that BYU-Utah rivalry for such a long time and had a good record. I don't know if you guys do it that way, but I know in Central Ohio and in Ann Arbor, I can tell you what pretty much every Ohio State or Michigan coach's record is against the other guy before I can tell you their career record. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to that rivalry because as Urban Meyer, who coached at Utah, would tell him, you're judged on that. You know what I know Urban Meyer has around here? 7-0 against Michigan.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yep.
Those coaches have gone head-to-head once. Kyle Whittingham was starting a running back in the secondary, and now Ohio State was missing NFL receivers, but they replaced them with NFL receivers. They had an NFL quarterback, and it came down to a field goal at the end of the game when the Utes lost their quarterback in the second half. Should I read into that, or bowl games one-off, it doesn't mean anything, or should I read into that Kyle Whittingham is going to figure out how to beat Ryan Day?
Well, I think you could read into one thing that I thought of when Kyle was hired was I've watched him wear out Michigan a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, when he was at Utah, I watched him go to the big house and wear out Michigan. I watched him do it. I believe it was Jim Harbaugh's first game.
Yep.
They went to Utah and Utah wore them out. So he understands that element that when you play at Michigan or Ohio State, it's about the trenches. I've watched that game for 45 years. Well, maybe not when I was one, but you know that game's won up front and running the football and those kind of things. That Rose Bowl, which I remember well, I would say more of a one-off, but also more of Kyle will know, hey, Ohio State's going to have receivers because, by the way, they still do. They got a guy named Jeremiah Smith that's pretty good. But I remember that Rose Bowl more for Jackson Smith and Jigba, and look what he's done since. So, but it'll be I think he'll add a fun layer to that rivalry with Ryan Day, who, by the way, despite winning last year, people in Columbus know that he's 2-4 against Michigan. So you're judged by that game and that game a lot.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think that he understands that rivalry. Have you been able to get your hand or get a pulse on what he's been able to do recruiting? Because so many of these guys on the staff, they don't have relationships in the manner in which they had relationships here.
Well, I think Kyle will do fine. So far, it looks like their recruiting class that's coming in will be all right. It is different when you have to jump into this part of the country, too, as anything else. But if I were selling Kyle Whittingham to a recruit in this area, I would look at, the first guy I would point to, a recent example, would be like a Spencer Fano, who is playing nearby with the Cleveland Browns, and I think is going to have a fantastic career. Didn't allow a sack last year. I mean, come on. He'll be able to recruit offensive line well, and that will play well in Michigan because they love their offensive linemen. You're also competing against the State, which, that's the one position of disparity. It's funny, we just talked about it. The receiver position, Ohio State's had just this litany of first-round picks at the position. Michigan hasn't had a first-round receiver since Braylon Edwards. It was like 21 years ago. So I think that's something I look at with those two programs. Does he get a couple receivers? What does Jason Beck do with the quarterback development? That's in focus right now, what he does with Bryce Underwood.
That is critical. And the one thing that I've heard is that Devin Dampier at Utah was so dialed in on that offense, which he got to run in New Mexico. So he's running it for the second year. But his decision-making was so top shelf, just excellent. And can somebody in their first year embrace it the same way? Or maybe he's such a good runner that he's going to make people look silly anyway. But that's probably the thing that most people are going to overlook is that Dampier made decisions and reads that most of us don't know about. And he made them quickly. And when they graded the film, it was always just fantastic. And so that's a high bar. If the offense is going to perform the same way, Underwood's got to be able to perform the same way.
I agree. And I think Devin Dampier, watching him last year, he was a guy that I remember we put in our Heisman sleepers just because one of the things with the Heisman was you get the guy that passes the ball, makes those decisions well, and also puts up a lot of running yards. Yep. And we knew he was going to do that. And that's the kind of the Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels theory to the Heisman. Sorry to bring up Jaden again. Didn't mean to. But when you have that quarterback that can get around 1,000 rushing yards, they'll have a chance to do it. Now, I don't know if Bryce will do that much at Michigan, but I think the arm talent, you saw it last year. It was weird. There were games and throws that he would make that it was like, okay, that's why he was a five-star guy. And then there were games where the decision-making was very tentative. And I do think some of it had to do with the guys he was throwing to. and you got to have receivers too. So it creates an interesting mix. I'm really excited to watch Oklahoma, Michigan in week 2 because as I've gone through the summer, Oklahoma's getting a lot of playoff buzz around Mateer. So, them coming up to the Big House, that'll be one of those early season kind of barometers for both programs.
No question about that. We're looking forward to that game. How much pressure is on this Michigan quarterback if it doesn't get going right away because they have that big game right off the bat, week 2, I think it is. And so, they got Carr's younger brother there, and he had a nice spring for whatever that's worth. So I'm wondering what level do you think the patience is as far as the leash goes?
Well, it'll be interesting to see because, not only that, but C.J. Carr at Notre Dame, who we all know the relationship with Lloyd, and I played in the shadow of Michigan Stadium, and now he's got a chance to carry this Notre Dame team that's getting a ton of hype. And I will say it on your station as I have all summer. I think this time it's not crying wolf. It's pretty real around the Irish. I think they're going to be very, very good this year. So if that happens and Bryce Underwood fails and Tommy's sitting there behind him, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But, yeah, I think the results will be pretty good. I like the talent. I think their schedule, again, very high-level difficulty. They've got to they have Iowa coming to them. They have Penn State coming to them. Penn State's another team to watch just because their schedule's really soft. When I look at those schedules, Penn State doesn't play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. I don't know how Matt Campbell got that in his favor, but I think the Nittany Lions could hang around into November as a result.
So BYU's bitten off quite a bit with Notre Dame coming in this year is what you're saying. Circle that. Notre Dame's probably going to be undefeated when they show up here.
One of the more games that probably isn't getting talked about enough because BYU is going to be in the playoff mix. Notre Dame's obviously going to be in the mix. That's one of their circle the date games to me. They haven't played in a while, if I'm not mistaken. I remember they had a home and home a while back, and that'll add to it as well. But I think BYU having Notre Dame come in there, that's probably their biggest road game. What I saw, they've got Miami coming to South Bend. For those of us who went to Catholic school in the 80s, we remember Miami Notre Dame very well in the 80s, and it'll be cool to see. I'm actually happy that rivalry's kind of reignited a little bit.
Well, Bill, we appreciate the time and the college football talk. It won't be long now. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
All right, there's Bill Bender. You can check him out. Sporting News. They got an archive. Just type in his name. You can read all the stories, and you can see his playoff predictions and why he's got BYU where he's got them. Notre Dame, the real deal, PK. He's got them playing in the title game against Indiana. An all-Hoosier deal. They had a first-round playoff game a couple years ago, so see if he's right about that. All right, DJ and PK, when we come back, we got a question up on our Facebook page. That BYU-Utah game is not on rivalry weekend. The whole theory is move it somewhere else where it can get more attention. How is it going to get more attention on the first week in November? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
The Sherwin-Williams Summer Sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off our newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest. Question up on our Facebook page. How much buzz will the Holy War get? The rivalry game. Traditionally played at the end of the season, but in the Big 12 era, they move it around. The league's got some big games, but it doesn't have an endless supply of them, so it gets parked wherever TV networks think they need it. I don't get Saturday, November 7th, PK. That day is loaded with big games. BYU, Utah, the same day that Miami's playing Notre Dame. That one's 5:30 prime time, already been set on NBC. Alabama's playing LSU. Georgia's playing Ole Miss. Oregon's playing Ohio State. That has Big Noon on Fox written all over it.
It do.
It's going to be a lot of competition. There are some other games that day that could be good if Michigan State can get it together. Michigan's playing Michigan State that day. Michigan State's got to win enough for that to have some sizzle. They haven't been doing that lately, so that might not be a deal. But those other 5 games, that's 5 games, 4 time slots. I wonder if Utah-BYU is going to be the big game in the last time slot.
Oh, November. That sucks, but it's
or
also the
2 of these
reality.
games end up at 1:30 and 2 of these games end up at 5:30. I mean, the SEC games, whatever the order is, I assume one of them is going to be at ABC at 1:30 and one's going to be on ABC right after it.
Was it the last time they played at Rice-Eccles? It was a late game. I think it was, because I can remember on our post-game show, the guys interviewing me, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on the side of my house because I don't want to go inside because you got to talk with energy. Yeah.
You're all fired up. Everybody else is trying to sleep.
Right.
So go out in the yard so the neighbors can hear you through the window.
So I was literally on the side of my house at 2 o'clock.
Good thing the cops didn't roll up. The neighbors are like, there's a prowler. We can hear him.
And that sort of stinks because this is a big game, and it's a great rivalry, man. I love the rivalry. And there's no way people are staying up around the country to watch that at that time. I mean, it's too late in where the majority of the folks live, but that's what we've got.
So the other thought is that it's going to end up on Fox at 1:30 because
Amen.
the Big Ten has a game on Fox, 10 a.m. our time, and then at 1:30 CBS gets a Big Ten game. So usually Fox will pivot to a Big 12 game in that second time slot.
Well, that's
so it could
awesome.
Be 1:30, and you're going head-to-head with either Alabama, LSU, or Georgia, Ole Miss.
I'd rather do that, selfishly. And I think that shows the beauty of the mountains, the campus.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to go in the press box and look west, the lake. And it's unlike any other atmosphere in the country. And I've been to most of them in the country. I've literally been to every region. And so I would, and November 7th, usually the weather isn't too bad by then. You never know. And it could be a sunny day, and you can really just accentuate the beauty of this area, which is a great selling point, but it has to be. And then just what are they going to be talking about that day? And what's the dominant conversation? If you're going to be drowned out by others, then put a rivalry weekend.
And be drowned out by others.
Right.
At least on a rivalry weekend, there's more TV windows to put it because you got all the games that can be played on Friday.
Mm-hmm. You can get some to play on Saturday.
And then some on Saturday.
Thursday, too.
Yeah. Then you worry about getting drowned out by the NFL, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is, what if BYU and Utah are both rolling? Combined 0-1 or 2 losses, maybe the game ends up in primetime on Fox.
Even better.
Head-to-head with Miami and Notre Dame. But talk about showing off the campus, late in the day, the sun setting, all that kind of stuff. That could be awesome. Maybe it'll already be dark by then. Wait, we're not changing clocks now, right? So it should still be light when the game kicks off.
You're the politic guy. You keep up on the antitrust stuff. I don't know what the clock situation is.
I think we're permanent daylight savings now.
Are we?
Yeah.
Daylight
so it'll be like the Rose Bowl. The sun's setting on the Sand Games, except the sun will be setting on the Wasatch. That could be awesome.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not pretend it's better than
it's not the Sand Games, but
the Gabes.
You just want to say Sand Games. Because literally nobody in LA says that.
I'm not in LA.
It's like you saying UC Los Angeles
I
just
left.
to get under people's nerves.
I
Get on their nerves.
Either get on their nerves or get under their skin.
Whatever. You get on their skin and under their nerves. UC Los Angeles.
I have the innate ability to get under their nerves?
You do.
And get on their skin?
And because you're the only one who says UC Los Angeles.
That's its official name.
That's what I know. People say UC Santa Barbara. They say UC Davis. They don't say UCD necessarily.
Right.
UCSD and UC San Diego are interchangeable, but not UCLA and UC Los Angeles. Nobody says UC Los Angeles.
And who better personifies a nobody than me?
Oh, man.
Right? I'm the ultimate nobody. I'm sitting there front row down in Dallas, and I can't even get, hey, Scotty G and Tim Lacombe interviewed Morgan Scally. What about that other guy with the big nose sitting right there? I'm the ultimate nobody. So if it works out that way and they get that prime opportunity, absolutely, man.
But the conversation of the day, Oregon and Ohio State should be a battle of unbeatens. There's a Texas game. I'm just taking it for granted. I get that.
The good thing is that this is a rivalry that is going to draw some level of attention if it was played whenever at 2 a.m. But you want maximum exposure, and I don't know that you're getting it. And you can argue, well, then pick a week where you're going to get it, and you're not going to come up with that. But it just seems more natural on rival.
This seems like maximum competition. I mean, that seems like a loaded weekend.
Because it is, and it's November.
But, hey, that's the respect that you get to be part of a loaded weekend in November because you're that big a deal.
Right, I agree. Yeah. And November matters more than October and September. Mm-hmm. It just does. Right? And that's when everybody is at that point.
Yeah, if your game's
the weather has changed a little bit. Whenever the sun sets.
Too early in the season, it minimizes the stakes.
The sun, we make a big deal on this daylight saving. Well, the sun will be up the same amount of hours, whether it's 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later, or whatever it might be. So I'm going to live with it either way because I have to. And football, November football, just screams, this is awesome.
Stakes are getting high.
Yeah.
Options are getting limited.
Right. And it's really, and then they got that dumb college football playoff thing that they release every Tuesday that I hate, but watch every Tuesday.
This is stupid. When does it start?
Yeah, I know. Right. And we make such a big deal about it, and I feel like I have to participate in that and watch it and hear what those ding-dongs have to say about when they interview whoever the committee guy is.
I just looked to see if they moved it back a week to November 14. Well, Michigan's at Oregon that day.
Yeah.
So that's...
Well, Utah's got to play Arizona. That's a huge game.
USC's in Indiana. Utah's at Arizona.
And I worry about Utah in that week.
Texas is at LSU that week.
I would rather have a cream puff after that game.
Yeah. Totally get it.
Yeah.
The Utah November schedule is brutal. Those three games in a row.
But, yeah, anytime. I mean, this rivalry takes so much out of you. We saw it. The play, we know the Mark Harlan and the Kyle kicking the chair and all that, and what for BYU is so emotional to win that game, and then the next week they go to lose to Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good that year. We were okay, but they weren't. It shouldn't have happened, but yet it happened.
And when did it happen, and why? Well, one of the elements, not the only one, but one of the elements is right there. And that legendary drop, you can find it in there, Alex, that drop when Kyle Whittingham tells PK, I know you're loving this, and you're like, I'm not loving it. I want to disappear right now. Don't make me part of the story. But that was because Utah got drilled at Arizona State, and you're a Sun Devil, and you're loving this. And that was the week after Utah had beaten BYU. And then they went down there and lost a conference game.
So I'm going to go down and cover that Arizona-Utah game, and I'm concerned about that puppy.
In November, that is very selfless of you. Excellent time for a trip to Arizona. That'll be down to like 92 by then.
November, you can start.
Yeah. Starts cooling off a little. It'll be hot, but not.
I would say warm.
Many of us think 90s are hot, but people in Arizona don't.
With the potential of being hot.
Yeah.
Especially if it's during the day. They could go either way there because certainly they can play it at night and the temperature will be just fine. But that's a huge game. So maybe there's not a perfect weekend, but the Holy War deserves its buzz because it's been earned. It hasn't been given to them. It's been earned. The games, so many of them, have been so incredible, so close, so bizarre. And if it's not bizarre during the game, then something after the game makes it bizarre.
There's always something. There's always storylines.
Yeah. It's so impressive.
It's the rare year that's ho-hum.
Yeah. And if it's a blowout with all the turnovers, that's bizarre. The time they played in a bowl game was bizarre.
That was bizarre.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Touchdown, turnover, touchdown, turnover, touchdown, turnover, touchdown, turnover. I'd never seen anything like it.
And then everybody knows 5 more minutes to go, BYU would have won. Everybody knows that, right?
There had been a fifth quarter.
No, just 5 more minutes.
Only 5.
Just an NBA overtime. Yeah. Incredible rivalry. I hope that it gets as much buzz as it could possibly get because it deserves it. Right? What do the people say?
The people. In Utah, Kevin says, a lot. It will get a lot of buzz.
For sure.
Michael says it's going to be the 5th most important game in the country. You put a graphic up, it's got the 5 games there, so he immediately looked at it.
We shall see.
Things don't usually, on paper, I get why he says that, but things don't usually play out the way they look on paper. Right now I'm looking at Utah's November schedule thinking that's very difficult. But by the time it plays out on paper, who knows?
Well, yeah, but that's after.
Quarterbacks get hurt, O-lines
Utah
fall
should
apart.
have an outstanding record going into that because at that point their schedule isn't that difficult. BYU, if they manage the week before, they play the Devils on Halloween, and then 2 weeks before that they're playing Notre Dame. If they're undefeated, wow.
Aaron says if they're both undefeated, it's going to get a ton of interest. If not, then it's a blip on the national radar.
Well,
and along the same thoughts, Jonathan says it depends on how all these teams are ranked and how BYU does versus Notre Dame earlier in the season.
And maybe in this case, they don't necessarily have to beat Notre Dame, just play them real tough. If Notre Dame's all that.
If Notre Dame's been out there destroying people.
Yeah, and if we get to that point and you lost to Notre Dame 24-17 and Notre Dame is undefeated in November, when Notre Dame is on top, there's nothing bigger.
The amount of old video that will be clipped from BYU Notre Dame games with Bettis in the 90s and from Notre Dame's last national title in 88. They haven't won a title since 84. They haven't won a title since 88. Yeah, it'll be nonstop.
Yeah, so we'll see how that happens, and it has a chance to get some buzz, even with a jacked, loaded schedule.
I know you're a Sun Devil and you're enjoying this.
There it is. That's a BYU Utah hangover comment right there.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I know you don't. I know. But it's a direct result of all the emotion of the rivalry game.
Fandom is checked at the door in those situations.
And they just didn't have any energy when
My job
ASU.
is to cover Utah, not to root for ASU.
Right.
And I take this very seriously, despite the fact that I come in here and screw around so much.
Notre Dame will be 6-0 when they play BYU, won't they?
I don't see a reason not to.
Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Stanford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've already looked at it.
6-0.
Yeah.
Away we go.
Right. Yeah. And BYU, obviously the big game is Arizona right there.
Yeah. Can they get through Arizona? And at TCU.
I think Arizona's a bigger game, but TCU is certainly a challenge. There's no doubt about it.
Arizona being at home, TCU on the road. But I would rank them in order of difficulty right now.
Yeah.
I would think Arizona's 1, TCU's 2, but don't view TCU as a gimme by any means.
Not at all. No, I've been down there too many times in that situation. I have a lot of respect. Well, basically, it's Texas football.
Yeah. If you get a good coach and a program gets rolling and you're in Texas, it can be really good. We've seen that with SMU the last couple of years.
Right.
Bouncing around a bunch of leagues, but getting to ACC and turning the NIL money loose and suddenly SMU is really good. And we see it with Houston. They've been up and down, but they've been up now in 3 different eras with 3 different coaches pretty recently. And when they're good, they're really good.
Yeah. Texas football.
Again. Yeah, there's just so many athletes there.
Yes. And so that's not a pushover by any stretch. Not at all. I mean, I put Baylor in there.
Oh, yeah, another great example.
Yeah.
When they've been good, they've been awesome.
Right. So I even think Texas State and UT San Antonio. I have so much respect.
The Pac-12
for
beat
Texas football.
the Pac-12 bet on Texas State for a reason. Yeah. And didn't UTSA and ASU play a couple times? Didn't ASU go down and play in the Alamo Dome? I think it was a good game.
And they barely won.
Yes, I remember watching it. Yeah, I think it was like 2 points at the end or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was a tight game.
Right. So, yes, those will be tough games. And if our locals come through unscathed, which would be cool, no doubt about it. There's just no doubt about it that if they come through unscathed, that's going to be gigantic. And people will be talking about BYU and Utah and be talking about the Big 12. That's when the Big 12 just needs to be talked about. There needs to be a buzz to the Big 12. And Cody Campbell may drive you nuts and whatnot, but the reality is he's good for the Big 12.
Can't argue that.
Right.
Keeps them in the headlines.
Right.
Keeps people interested.
Right.
Keeps people paying attention.
I'll repeat myself. Right. I'm on a roll here.
All those things are true.
They are. No doubt about it.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We've got no word out of BYU, right, PK? But we do have word out of a national ESPN recruiting guru who follows foreign players quite closely and has for years. He's got a little word on what BYU's doing for a big man. So we're going to tell you about that right after the break. Stay with us.
The Sherwin-Williams Summer Sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off our newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK. PK, you never stop looking for basketball news, even with football looming. You saw on Twitter.
I'm a news hound.
Jonathan Gavoni, Draft Express, tracking all the international recruits, among other things.
Yeah.
He's been way into the international scene for more than a decade. And he's got this post just this morning. News, Slask Roklaas. Man, I hope I pronounced that club right. Jakub Urbanik has committed to BYU, a source tells Draft Express. The 6'9", 23-year-old big man averaged 8.9 points, 5.7 rebounds in 24 minutes across the Euro Cup and PLK, whatever the PLK is, and brings senior national team experience with Poland at the FIBA level. So there it is. You wanted a big, there's a 6'9" guy.
6'9". Yeah. I don't think this is the end of it. I'm not sure he'll even be a starter. I think they're still out there seeing if these dudes can get a year back and what the possibilities are there. And they hand out years like candy now. And so how's that going to play out? And can they get somebody? Kid who has a local kid who's played out of state that they're looking at. So we'll see how that plays out. But they need size, and he gives them size off the bat. To what level remains to be seen. Modest stats, 58% from the from the free throw line, so that's an issue. But
they need somebody.
Yeah.
And like you said, maybe he's not the starter. Maybe there's something else out there.
I don't think he would be if the season started today. We'll see. See what I haven't have no idea. I looked at stuff and looked at his body, and so whatever. As he's tall and all that stuff, but you need backup minutes anyway, and so we'll see if he can earn some minutes out on the floor. They need some help there, and 23 years old seems kind of bizarre, but it's the nature of the game now.
Everything has changed. It is bizarre, but it is the nature of the game, and older kids tend to win, so go get some older kids. Yeah. And they did. And the PLK is the Polish National League, and he's played for the senior national team.
Yeah, I've always liked the Polish American League. They've had the designated shooters a little earlier.
I think you're just making stuff up now. This goes back to what you said earlier about all the nonsense you do when you get in here.
Took a while for me to come around, but, the National League over there.
You warmed to the designated hitter.
Yeah.
You came to accept it.
Yes. Begrudgingly, but...
Well, what is BYU going to do for a big man? Well, that's at least what they're going to do for one big man. We'll see if there's another big man in their future.
Well, I think they have 3 roster spots open now, too. And KY's talking about the idea of filling those spots. So I expect them to add 2 more players.
Time will tell. But there you go.
Yeah.
Slask Roklas, Jakub Urbaniak. I wonder if I was even remotely close.
Well, if you sounded it out, that's the way it sounds out.
Okay.
If you went...
I gave it a shot.
The hooked on phonics, that's the way you would pronounce it. Whether it's the true pronunciation or not, I don't know.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Had Bill Bender on earlier this morning. Talked a little college football with him. He writes for the Sporting News. He likes your take on the SEC. Thinks it's mostly posing. Although you can't rule anything out. The conversations are real and legit. But it's one thing to think about it and to talk about it. It's another thing to actually make the jump and leave the national football scene, which, with the 12-team playoff, has become much more national. And the SEC isn't really going to walk away from all that money and all that exposure and isolate themselves and get ignored by the rest of the country.
Well, and they think that they can do better and bigger.
Would that come with expansion? And that brings us to a question of the morning. Do you think a move out of the Big 12 is required for BYU and Utah to play big-time football? Not as football is currently constituted, but if there's some revolution up the road and some big changes, then yeah, they might need to make the move, depending on how big these changes are and how radical the landscape is going to be altered.
I don't know about that, though, because they didn't have it before, and they seem to do just fine there. They've had all these sellouts, and the interest in the teams is great. This is a great college football market. You can argue this is one of the better college football markets in the country. Easily argue. We got 2 teams. We got 50-some thousand at Rice Eccles. We got 60-some thousand down there in Provo.
It's very unusual to have 2 teams this close together and no NFL team. I'll bet we can find places where that happens in the country, but I don't think we can find a lot of them. And the fact that these teams have both won at a pretty good clip for decades now obviously makes it even better.
I don't think BYU is going back at all. They're throwing money around like crazy, and they've decided that they're all in.
Jeff, it doesn't matter what conference BYU is in. They'll always find a way to keep them on the outside. Little doomsday from Jeff there.
On the outside of what?
He does not elaborate.
They're not on the outside now.
They were in the Big 12 title game. Seemed very much inside to me. But
win that and you're playing.
Yeah.
The path is there. Go ahead and accomplish that this very season. You will be in. And if you get in, say that you got Bachmeier for this year and next year, most likely. You never know with the portal, right? But it's every time you hear him talk, he says he loves it here. He's playing music at the
Doesn't seem like the portal's an issue. In 2 years, the NFL might be. Let's wait till we get there to worry about that. Right.
So if you get in the playoff the next 2 years with him, and then you got this hotshot kid coming in, He's going to do they said the 1-year mission that his brother is doing, Ryder, is doing it there, the tight end, and he did the 1-year spiel, I think, over in Norway. And so if he comes in and he's all that, and you make the playoff 3 out of the next 4 years, they're going to keep you out? And maybe you win a game or two in the playoff? How could they possibly do that?
Especially because the playoff seems like it's going to 16 or 24. I mean, they're barking about 12 now. We're going to another year of 12. But it's there's too much money, too many networks.
Right.
And the history says that sports can't resist, and it doesn't matter what the sport, what level, they just can't resist more money, more. The last 5 or 6 years, what hasn't? I mean, the NFL's added 2 playoff games. Major League Baseball's added more wild cards. We just had the World Cup that expanded by 16 teams. It's apparently going to expand by 16 more. The NBA added the play-in games. I guess the NHL has stood firm.
Good for them.
NCAA basketball tournament added more teams.
And with that in mind, it would stand to reason then that the first-round games would be easier in terms of potential for winning.
Yes.
The bigger it gets. So you're going to have success there maybe. I just don't see it. I don't see why they would keep these folks out. And they come to your stadium. They generate a buzz. No matter where they go, wherever they go. Now you can argue, well, some of these places are already sold out, but they'll drive up the prices.
Yep.
You can charge more. Even if the stadium is sold out, you can still make more money. We're seeing it in BYU basketball.
We're seeing it in BYU football also. I had that discussion with the season ticket holder because I wondered
if that's more natural.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
I think they feel like it's accelerating.
Yeah, because they don't want to pay more money.
Right.
Well, and BYU undercharged with these chaotic rules and legacies that they've had.
I asked him if he was keeping. He said, "Oh yeah, I am." He says the kids enjoy going, and he said, and I said, some people are complaining. He goes, "It costs more. I mean, look at the teams they're bringing in, and look at what they're doing. It's
everything costs more,
right?"
So McDonald's, they say, costs more.
Yeah.
So we understand all that.
Yeah, the days of $5 lunches are gone. They all seem to be $10, no matter where you're going, unless you're paying 20, 30, 40 where you're going.
I can't save the money.
Even if you're racing through the local deli.
And, and what are they going to do to that stadium? They're going to need improvements. You're going to need more luxury stuff.
Yeah.
You're leaving money out on the table. Either build a new one or do something to it, but you're leaving money out on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're not going to do all that.
I thought by now it would be ringed the way Lambeau Field is. They built luxury suites all around that thing.
Right, and I think they're going to do something. I think that was part of Tom Holmoe retiring, the new administration go forth in that way, and they're working on stuff, and they'll figure it out somehow. I mean, they expanded it 5 times already, whatever it is, and so we'll see. Maybe they tear it down and do something new. I don't know about that. So everything screams big time, and I just can't see them being left behind. And Utah has earned its spot, especially now if they continue to have success. Then it's the Utah program. It's not Kyle Whittingham. It's not Urban Meyer for that little blip that he was. No, it's Morgan Scalley and the Utah program.
Well, and also Morgan to be young enough that you could, if he gets it going or keeps it going, then it's easy to project he could coach 10, 15, 20 years easy, which you really can't project that in college football anymore.
Yeah.
So many changes.
We'll see what happens there. And if the SEC was going to do it, go ahead and do it. Quit talking about it, man.
Brian says when the Big Ten and the SEC do their next purge, I'm not going to bet the farm, but I do believe Utah and BYU will be part of that, especially as they get close to expanding the playoffs.
I don't think that those two conferences need to do anything more. I think they're good to go right now. Especially the SEC. You've got this monopoly on that side of the country. And you do play great football. There's no one's going to deny that. You have a slew of NFL draft picks.
Even though it slipped, it's not what it was, it's still really good football.
Yeah. and they go nuts down there. I've been to that part of the country covering games, and it just doesn't compare to ours. Ours is pretty good, but that's better. That's the only place where they gather on Wednesdays. I've seen it with my own eyes.
The best story is you leaving early to get to the stadium, knowing there's going to be 100,000 people at Death Valley and Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And then you just blow right into the stadium and there's no traffic because everybody pulled up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's motorhomes everywhere. Who had more motorhomes? Penn State, where apparently they park in a field, or LSU, where they park motorhomes in a field?
LSU and Florida.
Was Florida the same deal? Just motorhomes in the field forever?
Yeah, Florida, yes. I can tell you stories. The LSU thing was when Utah State played, and the buzzer bees or stingers, whatever they would do, were supposed to play New Orleans in a playoff. And Craig Thorpe, hey, go down early.
2 for 1.
Yeah, well, something happened, and they didn't make it. And he goes, well, it's cost too much. Can you still go down? I did. So I was there, and I'm bored out of my mind. And I'm walking around, and I'm there on a Wednesday. And I talk to campus police because I see them there. I said, what's going on here? No, this is nothing, man. You should see when it's a conference game.
Getting the lowdown from the cops.
Right. I was just walking around.
See, you're back to the you had the cops beat. You were a beat reporter back in the day before you went to sports.
Yeah.
You just went back to your roots.
Right. And I
knows what's going on.
Talking to him.
Talk to the man in blue.
And then a few years back I go to Florida and they post tailgate and I'm doing my GPS because I gotta drive back to Jacksonville. I was in Florida less than 24 hours. I flew into Jacksonville.
You got to go from Gainesville to Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I got to go back. I got a first flight in the morning, and my GPS, it won't take me where I need to go because all the streets are still blocked off because no one's going anywhere. And they got fields with, like practice fields with lights, and the lights are on, and they're all hanging out. And then I was at Kentucky. Right, a lower level SEC. Well, I'm there to cover Utah basketball on a Friday. The NIT, the preseason. They used to have the preseason
NIT, yeah.
And Utes thought they were guaranteed a game, so Majerus agreed to it. Well, not only did they not get the game at home, they got Kentucky out on the road.
Yay.
He was furious.
Yay!
And I check into the local Lexington Marriott, and it is dominated by orange. The hotel was a University of Tennessee convention because they're playing the next day. And it was all hours of the night. I didn't even bother calling down and say, hey, it's noisy. They would have said, check out. Can't help you here. And I'm a titanium for life. I'm a big shot, Alex, when I go to Marriott's. They call me sir and all that. Should I tell him the other story?
Yeah, I was about to say, you want to hear a story about PJ being a big shot and telling the guy he's making a career. In a few minutes, you're making a career decision. Take a little look at this.
So I was at a youth baseball tournament in Colorado, and they said, oh, man, you can't book the thing for a week and then leave after 2 or 3 days if your team wins. You got to guarantee us 5 nights. Well, the team lost, and so I got like 3 nights that I need to leave. But I'm not going to stay there. So the guy says to me, I go to check out. He says, we can't do that, man. You agreed to this. I said, look into your system. If you don't check me out right now, from henceforth, I'm going to go to Hilton's. You're checked out, Mr. Kinahan.
Big shot.
Because of work, staying at these hotels. And that
he had like 40 million points.
Yeah, especially when I was a beat writer for the Tribune. And
he was double platinum, gold and silver, uranium.
Oh, I flew first class all the time. I went to Puerto Rico first class because they upgrade you. Because I was traveling so much at the time with football and basketball, and especially with the Utes in March. My gosh, I was in more nights in Marriott hotels than I was at home. So I can speak to the SEC is all that. But I just don't see them eliminating themselves from the rest of the world. Why would you do that? Unless you took in like 30, 40 teams.
Well, there's a thought the SEC's going to 20 and the Big Ten's going to 24, and they'll have playoffs inside their leagues. They'll keep all the money, and then the champs from each league will play each other, and that's it.
Okay, so that's how many?
That would be 44 teams.
Right, and how many teams would they add then? What do they have?
That would mean 4 for the SEC and 6 for the Big Ten.
So another
they'd be adding 10
10
teams. And there have been other numbers thrown out there, but
yeah, but then why not go more than that? We've seen that with the NCAA tournament in basketball. They keep on expanding. The rest of us are saying, don't we have enough? But no, they want to add this. Then they add the first 4.
Okay.
Then that counts now.
Not that I want to get too far afield here, but I think the NCAA basketball tournament, stop at the playing games and all that. I think at 96 teams, it'd be great. I think these smaller schools that at 15 and 16 can only occasionally beat a 1 or 2.
We understand.
I think they'd be pretty good against the 9 and the 10s, which is what you get if the top 8s all got buys. And I think they can win the next game against the 7s and 8s.
Sure, but then you've really reduced college basketball to 3 or 4 weeks. Nothing that matters in November.
College basketball is already 3 or 4 weeks.
I disagree.
Well, man, we're not in an NFL market. In a lot of places, it's 3 or 4 weeks because the NFL is just taking over January.
I disagree. When Arizona comes to town, it's a big, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And when BYU and Utah go down to wherever in the Big 12, these places, no, it's not as important. Understood. And winning the conference regular season is nice, and you get to cut down the nets, and you can put up a banner. But if you win the conference tournament in the Big 12, then really all that matters is how you did in the NCAA tournament, because that means you're really good. But now you're going to water it down even more so. Even more so, yes.
That's where they're headed.
And just
64.
getting, under your circumstance, the Big West and the Big Sky no longer will be simply getting to the tournament.
They'll be trying to figure out how to pull that upset.
And guys
how
will be
24
fired
take down 9?
Because you didn't win in the NCAA tournament. And now, nobody in the Big Sky, Big West, and so forth, if you get to the NCAA tournament, that's it, man. You've achieved your ultimate goal. Anything else beyond that is gravy. And Weber had an opportunity to have gravy.
They did.
And it was sweet.
They did twice.
Yeah.
Twice in the 90s. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing big dogs.
Right. And that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
It came so close to the Sweet 16 both times.
Yeah. And it would have been just
beating North Carolina and then losing to, was it Florida in overtime? So awesome.
If they're going to do that and expand that when it seems needless, then don't tell me that they're going to stop at whatever in football.
Oh, no, I get it. I agree. I mean, the 20 and 24 has been thrown out there, but would they go to 28 or 32 in the Big Ten? Especially the Big Ten, I think, is the one that's been contemplating, hey, how do we just make ourselves the NFL here?
And then why not do that and then get everybody off your back? And you create a massive entity at that point.
Right. And this is why, and you've already got relationships, all these multiple networks, and you bring in streamers. I mean, you can totally see the whole deal.
And then we'll see the NFL in December get off Saturday.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
I'll call you up in 15 years.
Okay.
DJ, I really like college football today.
DJ, do you remember?
I'm not going to watch NFL because it's not on anymore. I'll be watching an 8:30 game. I'll be in bed. I'll be asleep then.
Alex, will you even text us then?
Yeah, of course I will. I'll text.
No, he'll just do something that will make him magically appear. We'll get the hologram of
holograms on his meta glasses.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you'll be sitting on your couch and the guy's right next to you.
Be like some Star Wars thing. There'll be little 10-inch tall versions of us sitting on the desk arguing.
What is ahead
okay, guys?
That way.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So maybe everybody will have private planes the way we all have cell phones.
Jetsons will finally be true. We'll be zooming around. Be some kind of Blade Runner thing going on. Nice.
Yeah. So.
All right, DJ PK, we got to take a break. When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Soccer Running Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 1-855-TRAJAN1, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Well, the breaking news this morning, if you missed it, BYU getting a big guy. The big guy? A big guy? Well, it's all to be determined. They probably have a pretty good idea.
Well, there's a reason they call him Little Shaq.
There you go. Somewhere there's a BYU coach listening around to go and bleep in PK.
Got some guy out of Poland.
Yes, he's been playing in the Polish league. He's been playing for the Poland national team, not one of the age group teams, but the senior national team.
23 years old.
Śląsk Wrocław's Jakub Urbaniak is committed to BYU, a source tells Draft Express. Jonathan Gavoni, the first to tweet it out. Multiple people have now tweeted it out and have the info. 6'9", 23 years old, averaging 9 points and 5.5 boards a game, playing 24 minutes in the Euro Cup. So, bring him aboard and see what he's got. Get old and stay old. Well, he's 23 years old.
Well, I don't know what level is he, freshman, sophomore, junior? I don't know.
I have no idea
really
how they're figuring eligibility, and with the transfer portal and his ability to go back to Europe, feels like everything's a one-year deal.
I wonder if for BYU with the big men, it'll just be that's the situation. They'll be in this situation every year of trying to find somebody, unless there's some LDS kid who comes in as a freshman and wants to be there the whole time. You know, back in Coach Edwards' days, they always a lot of times went junior college for defensive backs, right? So they get these stopgaps, and they just continued that. And they had decent success with those guys. And now, now they're bringing in kids from the defensive backfield as freshmen and developing them. And then when their time comes, they're ready to go. And I'm wondering if KY here will go that direction as far as foreign big guys coming in and just be stopgaps and then continue it. And can they get a freshman and develop them? I mean, it's only been 2 years, so it's not like it's a big long time, but they haven't been able to do that. Or maybe doesn't necessarily have to be the foreign guy. He could be some transfer dudes that see a need, but they didn't.
And then, Kibakeda was there for a couple of years. They have recruited a couple of kids out of Timpview who have some size. But, the kids
they're not really big guys.
You're taking the words right out of say. But just because they got the size, guys with size are face-up perimeter guys these days. So, but like that true defensive-minded, rim-protecting, rebounding.
Like
the high school kids
Texas, that's what he was there.
The high school kids are so skinny, they got to put on weight before they can do it. Even if they want to do it, they got to put on weight before they're going to be capable of doing it. Got to get stronger.
But that's the whole point of developing them.
Right, and they're bringing in two, but only one's coming right away. One's going on a mission. One's going to come play right away. So I think your initial point, that feels like the truth. It's year to year. Even if you want to bring someone in for multiple years, even if somebody wants to come in for multiple years, you're probably going to have to re-recruit them. If they're as
you
good
have to
as
re-recruit everybody.
Right. Is good? Yes, that's absolutely the truth. Yeah. As good as you want to be, that means the players have to be that good, which means lots of people in the country who have lots of money are going to want them to.
And they need to check that out.
And so it's just, it's what Robert Wright III just did. And it's even more likely with bigs because there's more guards than there are bigs.
True. Yeah. You want the best of the best to be able to be there.
Everything's year to year, and if you get fortunate, you get somebody for 2, 3, or 4 years, great.
Now we're seeing that with him doing it at the NBA lottery level.
Yeah,
and everybody who brings in lottery guys, it's one.
Right. And you can bring in the freshmen, and even when they did it back in the day, Sean Bradley left. So the rules have changed, but the urge to go pro quickly is still there for different reasons.
Yeah, and it seems like if you don't do that, then they start downgrading you anyway.
Yeah. So there it is. That's one piece of the puzzle for BYU. And as you pointed out, they got a couple roster spots still to go. So Jakob Urbaniak, 6'9", 23 years old, and away they go. We have talked a lot of football this morning. BYU and Utah are going to play Saturday, November 7th, and that day is crowded with big games. Oregon, Ohio State, Miami, Notre Dame, BYU, Utah. And in the SEC, Bama's playing LSU and Georgia's playing Ole Miss. So, will BYU, assuming Oregon, Ohio State has the big noon kickoff, Notre Dame is already in primetime on NBC. I can't imagine Fox is going to turn Oregon, Ohio State over to CBS. Maybe I'm wrong. Expect it's a big noon kickoff. So Utah, BYU, head-to-head with a big SEC game or head-to-head with a big SEC game and Notre Dame and Miami in primetime? Or 8:15, it's in the last TV window.
Yeah, right now I would put Notre Dame Miami as the number one game.
Right now, I'd expect Utah and BYU at 1:30, head-to-head with Georgia and Ole Miss.
That would be sweet. I would sign off on that.
Yep.
If all goes well, I intend to be at Rice-Eccles Stadium that day.
I can see why that would be the plan.
As a member of the media.
I get that.
If not, I'll use my Utah season tickets.
You don't have Utah season tickets. You probably know people have Utah season tickets. I don't know how much access you'll have to them.
Plenty of people.
Yeah, but I don't know how much access you'll have to them the day of the BYU game. Yeah, I wasn't planning on going, PK. Why don't you just take this?
No, everything has a cost.
Yep, there it is.
And with the money I make, I can pay big money.
Look at you, big shot.
No, I intend to be in the press box. Will you be there?
I intend to be in the press box.
Yeah. Right. We'll have that
1:30 would be great.
Well, anytime would be great, but 1:30 would be greater than 8:30. I'll be the first to admit it.
Yeah, I don't think I can be in an 8:30 game. I think that's the night of the RSL season finale. So I'm rooting hard for 1:30, and I will have myself a doubleheader.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what your loyalties are.
Man, there you go.
Again, your father rolls over again. You choose soccer over football. Again, when he gets to the other side, when you get there, man, he's going to have serious amount of questions.
If we're in the same place.
I mean, I know your father was rowdy, but come on.
That's not the one we're talking about.
You? Oh, if you don't make the highest level of heaven, there's no such thing.
Dad's good to go.
As you, Mr. Nice Guy to all people?
Well, you've been in a
standard.
You've been in a few meetings that have gone
There's
sideways.
a reason. Yeah, well, you know who overthrew chairs in the temple. Sometimes you have to do that. I've seen you go to work.
Those two times. I almost said that one time. Okay, those two times.
We were with a supervisor over the weekend, and we were talking a little business. I said, yeah, DJ handles the business end. I'm the content guy. I got no business mind.
What did he say?
Well, we need content, so that's very important. So
that's true.
Any business stuff, go to him. I'm out the door. I went and saw a financial guy yesterday, and I made sure after the show that I took a nap, because the last time I met with him, I didn't take a nap, and we're in there, and I fell asleep.
That is awesome.
So this time, I went straight home.
Now, if we invest this at this rate, 10 years into retirement, your principal son will still be.
And she handles it all. And
clearly, because you're asleep.
That was rude. But I got so freaking tired.
Yeah. Oh, you get up early. And you don't sleep well at night.
Yeah, so this time I literally went home.
Out of your mind.
I was like putting all these things on the overhead. And plus it was like 2-3 years down the road. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive Sunday.
49ers coach.
But this time I had a notepad. I didn't know what I was writing, but I was pretending I'm writing notes, acting like I'm engaged.
I don't think Utah-BYU is going to end up in the late game. They got Colorado at Arizona State. Doesn't that just scream late game?
Yeah, because you can get by. It'd still be warm enough in November.
Yeah, play a November night game. Perfect.
Okay, yeah.
BYU, Utah, I mean, it's, they don't lock things in because seasons go sideways
you
and
never know.
Injuries happen and all that kind of stuff. I'm figuring it's BYU and Utah, 1:30. Big Fox coming out of the Oregon-Ohio State lead, or maybe 2 o'clock because I think Fox starts the games at 2.
Great. Yeah, you don't know. Any team that's playing a third-team quarterback or a walk-on or a first-year freshman is probably going to struggle.
There it is.
It's just the way it is. So, and hopefully that doesn't happen for anybody. I mean, literally anybody.
Hope they get – first off, you got to hope that they have a good enough seasons that the game can,
I think they
rise
will.
to the occasion.
I think they will.
And then you hope it gets a lot of attention because, to your earlier point – Miami, Notre Dame screams a massive amount of sizzle.
Well, yeah, and one got in last year, one didn't, and then they boycotted the bowl. So that plus it's Notre Dame, it's just huge. And Miami seems to have turned the corner under Cristobal, which is cool because the following year they play the Utes in Vegas. So
You're right. That is, I'd lost track of the math on that working out. And and Kyle was right. He said he wouldn't be there for that game, and he won't be. So he got that right.
Not the way we expected it.
Not the way he expected it either, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, so that's for this time next year we'll be talking about that ball game, and I anticipate being in that stadium covering that game.
Yeah.
Because that'll be huge, obviously. You got those two teams playing each other, and that'll be a big time matchup. But hopefully, I fully expect both of these teams to be in serious contention in November.
Notre Dame and Miami will be the teams that have lost the first 2 12-team playoff championship games and could still both be undefeated at that point. It could be a massive game.
Yeah. I think there's maybe 20-25% chance of BYU Utah Part 2 in Texas. It's certainly not out of the realm.
It's not out of the realm. We had Bill Bender on. You can hear that interview wherever you go, and he was saying 4 teams for the 2 spots.
Yeah.
Houston, Texas Tech, Utah, and BYU.
Right. Yeah.
Those 4, see how it plays out.
And I feel like now...
He did write that and predict BYU would win the league and go to the playoffs.
Since we've been, and I say we literally, been in the Big 12 now for a few years, I feel like I got a much better feel for these teams.
It's limited because there's so much turnover year to year, but nonetheless, you have the feeling. Oklahoma State should come back. How far will they come back? They shouldn't have fallen that far.
I don't think it is limited because we're aware of the transfers.
And that's why we think Oklahoma State can come back. And we've seen it before.
They'll be competitive this year.
A very good G5
You got an NFL
team.
quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
This is James Madison to Indiana. The parallels with North Texas to Oklahoma State are obvious. Doesn't mean you'll go as far as they did, but there's no way you should stay where you were. Because where you were was at the very bottom with no hope. In a terrible spot. And if they bounce back this year, it won't really impact Utah and BYU because they don't play them. Now, it could impact the race because they do play both Houston and Texas Tech.
I think it will impact the race potentially. I think it'll be a lot harder to win there.
And Texas Tech goes there.
Yeah.
Okay, Oklahoma State goes to Houston.
Yeah, I'm jacked for the Big 12 race.
And it starts. Week 2, Utah, Arizona. Week 3, Texas Tech and Houston. I wouldn't mind more conference games week 2 and 3. I think it'd be a good play for the conference to provide more good content for the TV networks.
Sure, but you got to make sure it's not at the – what am I looking at? At the choice or the option of competitive or the risk of competitive balance. If other leagues are giving their teams some tune-ups, put their best foot forward, you got to be careful to make sure you're putting your best foot forward too.
Sure, but I also think that gives a chance for your teams to put money games into the regular season the way the SEC used to.
Hence, it's a risk.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that you give yourself a mini bye because you schedule your version of the Citadel later.
Okay.
Instead of scheduling them week 2.
Yeah, but I don't know about that though, because
then you got to play someone tougher week 1.
Because
so it's a trade-off. That's the risk.
We're not talking about the SEC that week. And if we are, we're talking about it's a joke. Herb Street does it every year. Whereas if I've got Arizona and Utah at that time, that's a big-time game. So you may risk losing some buzz because you're playing a cream puff at that point. And that the SEC doesn't have to worry about publicity.
Right.
And buzz. The Big 12 does.
Yeah, I would say don't do it the weekend before the rivalry games. That would, if everyone did it, that would call a lot of attention to it. I'm thinking more spacing them out through the season. And some teams,
not November.
BYU's moving up, and that might be the thing. Is put it. Yeah.
I want November to have every weekend matter. And the conference implications are huge. So on Tuesday, that's a conversation piece when they do the poll.
And it's not what BYU is doing in any case, because for BYU, it's because they put Notre Dame in their schedule.
Understood, yes.
That's why they've moved up. So not everybody will be,
and that's fine,
for the same reason. Right.
I mean, it's not, you're not going to live and die by one. They've been doing, SC's been doing this for years.
Yep. And now BYU gets to.
Yeah.
All right, DJ and PK, anything else you want to tell the people? Red Sox 14 in a row. There's always hope, right? A team that can't hit a lick can catch fire and vault themselves into the playoff position.
Yeah, but the problem is they're peaking too early. What are they thinking?
That may well be. And when you have a big winning streak like this, you tend to follow it up with a cold stretch. And how bad will it be?
Well, we'll see what they do at the trade deadline, because now it looks like they're definitely in it.
Oh, yeah.
And so what can they acquire and what can they do to go for it and all that stuff?
Also, we should have mentioned when we were talking recruiting, but the recruiting took precedence. BYU basketball, we got the non-conference schedule now, and they're going to Maui. So 3 games there. They're playing in-state. They're playing Weber State and Utah State. They've got Ohio State.
And playing Utah.
At the Delta Center. Utah in the conference. This is the non-conference schedule, but yes. Thank you for that.
More in-state games, the better. Utah State should be playing these teams, even if they have to go there. You know, Calhoun talked about, we got a 9 seed. That's the reason why I left. As if you got an 8 or a 7, you would have stayed and locked into a long-term deal. You wouldn't have. You were looking to get back to where you're from, and there was some problem on that. But going and playing and beating BYU and Provo, maybe you wouldn't have gotten a 9 seed, especially early in the season, when they didn't have the depth of injuries that they had.
San Diego State in Palm Springs. And we'll see. I don't know how the matchups work out there in Maui, although you're already assuming, probably correctly, that Arizona will go to the other side of the bracket. Clemson will be out there representing the ACC. Washington representing the Big Ten. So Colorado State representing the Pac-12. So other teams out there. All right, DJ and PK. That is what we've been talking about all morning. We'll get to your feedback next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Ooh, I was there. That's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach Thursday from 10 to 2 at Tim Dolly Mazda in Sandy, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. Time for your feedback. Do you think a move out of the Big 12 is required for BYU and Utah to play big-time football? Eric, I wish I could say no, but the way things are headed, it's more than likely.
I don't know where they're headed.
The question puts the initiative on BYU and Utah. If the league's going to get rated again, do they come straight to them? Whoever's doing the rating, Big Ten and or SEC, do they come straight to them trying to create whatever their own perceived new world order is, so they don't really have to do anything. I mean, yeah, they move out, but are they really the ones going to be driving the initiative? Or if they're dividing up the map and TV markets and how many games do you need for how many streamers and how many networks, is the math just going to demand that somebody come to them?
Okay.
I mean, I think they're clearly in the top half, probably top third. Maybe it's not as clear top third, but I think with our local bias, we'd all agree top quarter, top third of the league as far as TV brands.
I would.
Who are they coming for? And recognizing that you need time zones, you need late games, blah, blah, blah.
We feel that. Yeah, which is true.
And there's so many networks to make money off of now. And there's so many streamers to make money off of, depending on where this is going. We were talking about this from the negative point of view earlier this week. It's like, how many different things do you have to purchase to see all the games? You just start missing some stuff that you'd prefer to see, but it's just not realistic to pay a cable or satellite bill to see some stuff. And then over here, well, now to see other stuff, I've got to pay 7 or 8 different streamers. Baseball fans are probably at the cutting edge of that pain, but I think fans of other sports are feeling that pain as well.
That's the only reason why I'm working, is to pay all of my television.
So that you can keep working.
Yeah.
It's chicken and the egg, man.
Yeah. Vicious cycle.
It really is. I think for the NBA right now, you got to pay for 4 things. And I think right now you can cover 3 of them if you maintain cable and satellite.
So my hooch for my tailgate.
There's 3 network providers.
What else?
And Jazz local broadcast
my wings.
For basketball. Not talking about your food.
Oh, I gotta have that.
I'm talking about.
Gotta have my hooch, my Coke Zero.
There are baseball games that are only on Peacock. There are baseball games that are only on. Who has a Friday night? Is it Amazon?
Or
Apple? Is it Apple? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Friday night on Apple, and you got some games that are only on Peacock.
Sure, but the good thing about that, I don't think it's because they play so many, missing a game is not that big of a deal.
I agree with you, but I've definitely heard people complain about it.
And I usually trip to Light Fantastic with my wife on Friday. So
after you go to Kmart to get the cocktail dress, just run out all the old hits because they're all new to Alex. But Alex is distracted because
we're not in front of a television.
He's prepping the next show, which is the more important show.
Well, that's where his bread is buttered.
He knows.
I don't blame him.
He knows.
Hey, our show, we're a bunch of fill-ins.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm a 25-year fill-in.
Right.
That's the way I look at me.
They have 2 producers for the next show. We have 1.
Yeah.
And right now we have 2/3 of one because he just walked away to go do something for the next show.
I'm a floater.
You are.
I help everywhere I can.
As well you should. That's a savvy move by you, Alex. You know exactly what you're doing. While you help out everyone, you're actually looking out for number 1. Well played.
Football is much bigger as far as the stream goes. I had a friend who, back when the what was it, the Pac-12 network, blah, 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 he told me that he drove up to the side of Wild Wings, or this was called Buffalo Wild Wings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
watched the game through a window?
Mm-hmm. He sat in his car. Because
awesome.
They had outside seating,
yeah.
And the TVs faced the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove up and watched it because he didn't have the Pac-12 network.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I like it. Very creative.
Right.
And that's a little easier to do for college, the way they treated stuff. It's a little harder to do for pros. Like, where are you going to go on Christmas Day to stream some games? It's a little more awkward.
Understood.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
All right, DJ PK, we're out of time. And Alex is already producing the next show. You want to wander back to the board so you can end this show? All right, Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe are coming up next. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Well, that's our show.
This concludes the entertainment part of our program.
Well, that was fun. I think it went really well.
See ya. I'm out of here. I'll see you. Bye-bye.